He's like a hippie.
Why would you go after this guy?
Come on!
Why would you go after this guy?
There's a reason why.
Why would you go after this guy?
He's like, hey man, want a flower?
Why would you go after this guy?
There's a reason why.
He's like a hippie.
Why would you go after this guy?
Come on!
Why would you go after this guy?
There's a reason why.
Why would you go after this guy?
He's like, hey man, want a flower?
Why would you go after this guy?
There's a reason why.
He's like a hippie.
Why would you go after this guy?
Come on!
Why would you go after this guy?
There's a reason why.
Why would you go after this guy?
He's like, hey man, want a flower?
Why would you go after this guy?
There's a reason why.
He's like a hippie.
Why would you go after this guy?
All right. We are live. Welcome back to Reason Answers, your home for all the
crackhead clown individuals.
I hope you enjoyed the new opening song there. That is by Breakfast Gun. I felt that one seemed particularly appropriate for today, since we're going to be talking about Mohammed Hijab and the latest evidence in his, let's call it, sex abuse case. Aisha and the Behind Veils people have released a huge treasure trove of texts between Mohammed Hijab and Aisha. Hijab first tried to claim that he had no idea who she was. Then he tried to claim that she was a stalker. We're going to see in these text messages that although he is mad at her, and all these stem from after the time of the divorce for the marriage that took place. But you're going to see, although he is quite upset with her and so on and so forth, he does accidentally admit to basically every important aspect of the story. He's claiming that she's just making this all up. We're going to see that, in fact, Hijab accidentally admits to it while trying to get her not to talk about what has been going on. I want to start with a brief message in case Aisha watches this stream. I want you to know that you have the support of myself, and you have the support of the Christian community. I want you to know that I'm willing to do whatever I can to help you. I don't ask for anything in return. I don't even ask that there be public acknowledgement that I did anything. It can be in complete secret. My email address is in the video description if you want to contact me about that. I understand that I am an enemy to Islam in your eyes, and you're correct. I am an enemy to Islam, but I am not an enemy to Muslims. I don't do this ministry because I hate Muslims. I do this ministry because I love Muslims, and I want the best for them. I want the best for you. I want you to get justice, whether or not that means you leave Islam as a result. Now, to be perfectly honest, I do hope that you come to know the love of Christ, that you become a Christian, that you experience the unsurpassing love of God, something which is found only in Christianity and not found in Islam. And the reason I hope that for you is because, again, I want what's best for you. It's actually not in my self-interest. It's not in the interest of doing the maximum damage to Mohammed Hijab and Islam for you to leave Islam, because if you do leave Islam, then they can just say you were never a Muslim to begin with. It was a conspiracy, a paid actor, whatever they want to say, and people will believe that. So I don't say this because I think it will benefit me if you leave Islam, or benefit what I want to do if you leave Islam, but I say it because I want what's best for you, despite it not being in my own self-interest for you to leave Islam. I want the audience to understand that Aisha is a victim here. She is 100% a victim. She was tricked by Hijab. She was taken advantage by him, used her trust. He used her trust in him to abuse the situation and switch everything up. But she is also a victim of Islam. And that's what I want her to understand when we are critical of some of her actions. We're critical of the teachings of Islam. I wanted her to understand that we're doing that because she is a victim of the evil in Islam, which allows for this kind of thing, which encourages this kind of thing, which is the root cause of the problems. Mohammed Hijab is a horrible man. He is an evil individual, but he also is acting in what he believes is in accordance with Islamic teachings. And to be perfectly honest, I can't really say that he is wrong when he says that everything he's done is justified by Islam. It's not justified morally, it's not justified in reality, but does seem to be justified by the scholarly, in quotes, teachings of Islam. I also want to just briefly summarize. 5 years ago, Aisha met Muhammad. They came in contact through dot work. She was going through a divorce at the time. Mohammed Hijab acted as a sort of marriage counselor for her, provided her advice. As a result, he learned about her preferences and what she was looking for in a husband. He tried to hook her up with a couple guys. That didn't work out. They weren't what she was looking for. He ended up doing a marriage. He promised that they would have a normal, in quotes, Islamically normal relationship where he would spend time with her. He'd interact with her family. He'd be part of her life. Should be less than 50%, right? Because his first wife would be his top priority, but she would get real rights. She'd get financial support. She would get everything that you expect, other than the amount of time. As soon as the marriage took place, which took place over Zoom with Mohammed Hijab, camera off, because he was afraid that one of his friends that he handpicked as witnesses would screenshot it and try to blackmail him later on by bringing the screenshot to the public. After that marriage took place, they met up in hotels for a brief period of time. At first, he was pretending that this was a temporary arrangement until she could move into a new place, and then he decided that nope, this is the permanent relationship. I'm only going to meet you in hotels for sex. I'll be with you a couple hours when I feel like it. And that's all you get out of this relationship. You don't get financial support. You don't get, I will never speak to your family. I will never meet your family. Nothing along those lines. Of course, that was not what she signed up for. She ended the relationship. And for the past 2 years, she's been trying to get justice for this situation. She's contacted numerous sheikhs, numerous Islamic teachers, and they have been not helpful. They have, some of them have acted like they'd be helpful and then changed their minds. Others just said, nope, everything he did is fully justified by Islam. The problem's with you if you don't understand that. She eventually found the Behind Veils channel, which was willing to help her. They published her testimony. Mohammed Hijab denied everything. First said he didn't know her, then said she was just a crazy stalker. We're going to be looking at texts from
very quickly, though, for those who still want to support Mohammed Hijab and say that he didn't do the things he's claiming not to have done, he's lied to you guys. How stupid are you? Are you really this stupid? He started out lying and saying, I don't know this woman. I have never heard of her before in my life. I don't know who she is. And then immediately went, oh, she's that evil stalker who was following me for years. Either you know her or she's a stalker. If you are so stupid as to take one word that Mohammed Hijab says to you as truth, from here on out, you deserve anything that happens to you as a result. Seriously, it's pathetic that he has all of these robots still going, oh, I don't care what he says. He already said that he doesn't know her at all, and then turned around and said, she's a stalker. If you believe the second part, you are so mentally deficient that I don't even know what to say to you. You get scammed left and right, I'm sure, because you are a sucker. Pathetic sucker.
Little Missy the Muslim is in the chat, and although she's watched several hours of my streams before, she doesn't know who I am. All you have to do is look at your screen, where it says Reason Answers above my head, down below it says Thaddeus. I am the owner of this channel. I am the host. Mary is co-host. She's by far the most common person on here, way more than just a guest. She is a very important partner and collaborator on the channel, but it is my channel. So that's who I am. I am a Christian, conservative Christian, conservative religious Christian who absolutely believes in the truth of Christianity and does this mission because I believe I have a calling from God to reach out to Muslims, to show them the falsity of Islam and get them out of the evil demonic cult that they are in. Hope that clears things up for you. So today we're going to be looking at a treasure trove of texts between Aisha and Muhammad after the divorce has taken place, when he is trying to convince her not to go public with any of this information. This is from the fall or maybe even last spring, when she is seeking help from others, and he has found out that she has been seeking help from others, and now he's trying to shut that down, trying to shut her up. But as a result, he accidentally admits to basically every important detail of the story in these texts as he's yelling and screaming at her, trying to convince her that she shouldn't go public with the information that he now says is just lies. All right, I think that covers the background. So we're going to dive right into those text messages now. And I was not sharing the window, so hopefully my audio doesn't screw up when I share it. Because that was the one part of that thing that I didn't redo after we restarted it. So hopefully. All right, hopefully my audio is still good. We'll start diving right into the text. And at the top, we see this warning from WhatsApp that Muhammad uses a default timer for disappearing messages in new chats. New messages will disappear from the chat 24 hours after they're sent, except when kept. So Mohammed Hijab has been posturing that there's no evidence, there's no text, there's nothing, because he didn't think there was, because he had set them to be deleted. But Aisha took screenshots, so Mohammed Hijab's bluff isn't going to work. Starts with a message from Hijab. There was a misunderstanding on the terms, and it ended. Must trust in God to be able to recover. You will. Don't lose hope in the mercy of Allah.
And I'm going to read her part so that people following along can do so easily. I don't want you to text me again, please. You have completely destroyed my life, every aspect of it. Deen and dunya. So, Deen, if things I asked from you were not important to me, I wouldn't have brought the question up before nikah. You said we will be on our previous terms if things work. Otherwise, if things work, otherwise we won't. You have never explained your position about that. I am not being interested in being with you, nor will I be with anyone else. You did hurt me. So basically, he offered to restore their marriage back to hotel wife prostitute status. She will visit him like any hotel prostitute visits a man paying for services, except he doesn't even pay. So that's what he's offering her. And she's like, no, I'm not interested in that. Continuing on. You got to go down.
Oh, yep, sorry.
I can't see. You don't understand what this marriage meant to me. I've sacrificed almost everything to be a part of this dawah work throughout my life since I was 15. I have accepted your arrangement for that. Emotions I did grow for you were grounded on that. I gave up almost everything for that. So she's saying that the whole reason that she was interested in him was to be a secret wife. Here's where he was just tricking her, right? Because he had no intention ever for her to be a public wife. How could she have helped him in his dawah if she's a secret? Cannot. So, cannot possibly help in his work, but because he has the status, because dawah position, as he said, something like 85% of dawah men are in plural marriages, shacking up with extra secret wives. And he makes a point that the vast majority of these extra wives are totally secret. So by exploiting this position, one of its perks that Islam reminds us, nikah does not mean marriage. It means intercourse. And when you compare nikah to zina, it means intercourse that Islam considers halal. So he is offering to do more hotel intercourse with her that is halal, but he is not offering anything like a marriage. Yeah, nikah means sex. It is not the same as misyar. Misyar is a type of marital arrangement. Nikah means intercourse itself. Marriages in technical terms, like the wedding itself, is often called the taking a woman for nikah, but that zawaj is the word for a marriage as an institution. And the thing is, like I said, she did not explicitly agree to misyar. She did not use the word misyar, but aspects of a misyar marriage, because she did not spell out in her contract explicitly which parts she was not agreeing to being misyar, however much he wants to take away from her of her normal marital rights. Mohammed Hijab took everything that he chose to take. So
we have a very interesting individual in the chat here. He says that cousins, you're not a Christian, just a white supremacist.
Is it white supremacy that Islam teaches you that one of the examples of the Prophet is to marry cousins, first cousins, and first cousin marriages year after year after year? Was it white supremacists who did the studies in Pakistan on the depression in IQ that occurs among Pakistanis who have these double first cousin marriages where both of your parents are the product of first cousins and you guys are first cousins? No. So you go away because you are just pretending not to be a Muslim. So you are going to go in timeout and quit being silly. There's nothing at all that's racial about incest in Islam. Incest in Islam is practiced by all Muslims. Why is that? Because that is what Islam teaches. To clarify a little bit more, if you agree to a secret marriage, you are already giving up some of your rights, because she has agreed to hide the marriage so that the wife doesn't find out, which involves not taking your full share of days, which is not half the time. You have to have like 1 in 4 technically. He has to sleep with you 1 in 4 nights. So she agreed to that, but he kind of tricked her and deceived her, and to not have no intentions of paying her rent either, or giving her other marital money support. So he took advantage. He got her, he pushed her like, oh, well, there's this man. Oh, well, there's this man, and kind of manipulated her. He pushed her and manipulated her until she said, all right, if the man is good enough, I will agree to be a secret second wife, which is already technically a misyar marriage. She never agreed to being a second wife who doesn't get support, husbandly support in other ways. Did he, and if she had had her guardian, her father as a guardian, and again, that's another exploit. He used an exploit because technically in Islam, if your father is not present in the country, you can have the imam stand in for him. Was he available? Absolutely. He was available on Zoom and everything else, and could have, and if they're doing a Zoom wedding, why could they not have done a Zoom mahram stand-in guardian guy too? Absolutely could have. But because he was wanting to make sure that the terms spelled out what he wanted them to spell out, so was she exploited? Absolutely. Absolutely tricked and exploited. Was she exploited such that from a very technical point of view, Islam permits it? Most likely. Most likely. I am predicting that there's like an 85% chance to a 99% chance that Islamically, technically, he did nothing wrong. Was it horrible? Yeah, of course it's horrible. Is he a dirtbag? Oh, absolutely. Complete dirtbag. But it's partly, and if he had actually, if that 10%, 5% ends up being true and he actually did something wrong, will she find justice in Islam? No. No, she won't find justice in Islam either, because she's just a woman and she's not valued the same way he is, especially given his position. If she were the daughter of someone who was more significant, then perhaps, but he probably wouldn't have done that to the daughter of someone more significant. He did it to her because he could get away with it. So a lot of this here is about the tension between what is fine in Islam, or at least, oh, well, it's disliked but allowed, that kind of thing, and what is actually good, what is actually right, what is actually decent. Is Islam decent? No, absolutely not. But this was not Muta, it was Misyar. So this comes from Muhammad's mistreatment of Sauda. That Muhammad despised his wife Sauda because she got old and he decided he was ugly, and I guess she got too flabby for him eventually, and so he was done with her and was going to divorce her, and she offered to hand over her rights to Aisha, specifically rights of sleeping with the right night, enough nights, as long as she got in return the support. But what Mohammed Hijab, and there are no specific terms of Misyar marriage, that you have to do at least X, or you have to do at least Y. It's not like that. It's less than these other, the full amount that you are owed.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I've shared it from the laptop. It's going to be a little confusing for me because now my mouse isn't going to move it, but it does seem to have fixed the audio. So we will just continue on.
All right. Then. So she said, "You are comforting me," and then something.
Right. So there's more text.
She didn't expand it. There's more text. She didn't expand it.
And then his response is okay. 2 hours later, right? 2 hours later, he writes back, okay.
Did he write back, "Who are you, you crazy stalker? I wasn't married to you"? No.
All right. So far, so good. I'll do a private stream later and figure out why my screen share is interfering. It has literally never done that in the past. So I really don't know what's going on there. But we'll just continue on now. So we go to the next page of text messages here. So she writes back, what happened was, oh, sorry, you go, Mary.
All right. So she writes back, what happened was atrocious, and the impact that has had on my health, both physically and mentally, is big. I think I should have the right to ask for fatwa or help. I still suffered in silence for many months without talking to anyone. I did not talk about you by name and details to anyone other than Mohammed Tarawna. Anyway, I used a fake Facebook profile and asked and asked Hamza sources to address the topic of the red pill many months ago. I have no idea what she means by the red pill. I didn't mention anything about you. I didn't share much details with Ali Dawa. I used a fake profile and didn't mention your name. Said Ikamali. Oh, Saeed, another person. Saeed Ikamali, I didn't mention your name. So these are all the people that she went to without mentioning his name first.
Mm-hmm. So she's saying that these are all the people I went to for help, but I was kind, and I didn't even say who the man who was that had done this to me. I was just trying to figure out what my rights were. And that is what she's saying to him. Like, remember, all he said is okay. All he said is okay. But it's going to, you're going to see a lot more from Mohammed Hijab as we go through this. Her initial messages are very long because she's explaining the whole situation and what she has and has not actually done to Hijab. And apparently she's not actually shared his name with but one person. Or maybe two. I guess two, the Sheikh Tarani and Ali Dawa. So Mohammed Hijab responds, if I respond to you, I might really hurt your feelings. I request you stop now. I'm not interested.
Why did you marry me, Mohammed, if you're not interested in investing in this marriage? Well, to bang her. Not even with a proper conversation. Am I this cheap? Yes. To him, yes.
To which Mohammed Hijab replies, we had different expectations of marriage and the divorce was mutual. I didn't find you attractive after we were intimate. You're Mughith and I am Barara. Only I don't remember Mughith being this hostile. So, Mary, what is this Islamic story that Mohammed Hijab is referring to here?
What an absolute dirtbag. Oh my gosh, I have not read this. So, Barera, he got the name wrong, but her name's Barera. She was the slave that became Aisha's ex-slave. Okay? So, she was enslaved. Aisha bought her, freed her, and freeing her is kind of relative because she still owed all of her labor had to be Aisha's from then on. Just because you're an ex-slave, it just means that you get a few more rights. As a client, you still have a bunch of responsibilities toward the person who freed you, which is why that was her servant girl. But when she was freed, she had been married as a slave to Mughith. I forgot what his name is. I think he got his name wrong too, but I've forgotten exactly what the correct form of his name is. But anyway, she was married to this guy, and he was African, so she thought he was ugly. You know, the way Arabs believe about people who are African. And so as soon as she was freed, she would not be married to him anymore because as a slave, her sexual availability could be given away by her master. But as soon as she was freed, that's one of the only things that being freed gets you is that no longer is your sex owned by your master. So because he was still enslaved and he had not been freed first, she was freed first, she was able to dissolve the marriage. And he would follow behind her, weeping and crying and begging for her to come back to their marriage because he loved her so much. But it said that I have never seen anyone who loved someone as much as the man loved Barera, or hated anyone as much as Barera hated him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying that there is no one, I could not hate you more than and despise you more than I do. Except that, you know, the continued slave who was following after his former wife was not as hostile, he says. Just despicable stuff.
Yeah, so Mohammed Hijab, just to be clear, he's comparing himself to the villain in this story, who is also a woman. So he's comparing himself to a female villain who was...
she's not a villain in this story. She just was forcibly married to a man, and once she got free, she ditched him because she was forcibly married to him. Here's the difference. She was forcibly married to him. Mohammed Hijab chose this woman to exploit her Bureira was married against her will because her sex belonged to her master, to someone that she despised. And yeah,
So Mary, I could be wrong, but
yeah.
my understanding of the story from researching it yesterday is that they're both slaves. And
So
then when she was freed, she had the opportunity to break the marriage because she was not,
yeah,
because a freed person couldn't be married to a slave. So she broke the marriage
no,
and then wanted nothing to
here's-
do with him. After
yeah,
that.
she broke the marriage, but she was forcibly married as a slave. As a slave, she didn't choose her husband. She was given to him like an object. So she was every slave woman, her sexual availability belongs completely to her master. Her master chose to marry her to another slave, and then whenever she was freed, she got the opportunity to break it. Now, it says the reason why she despised him was because he was African, which is kind of despicable, but she had been forcibly married to him.
Okay.
It had not been her choice.
All right. So the Islamic webpage talking about the story that I went to didn't mention that part, but it implied that she either could be freed or remain married to him. She couldn't do both, so she chose to be freed and throw the guy aside as a result.
I don't know that is true. I do not believe that is true.
In any case, the real point here is that Mohammed Hijab's drawing on this story, which has absolutely nothing to do with him, but the other individual, the Mukif or whatever, like deeply loves the Barrera in this situation, wants to do anything to be with her. And so like he's like seeking after her and goes to Muhammad for intervention. And Muhammad actually recommends they get remarried, and she still won't remarry. That part is, I'm certain of, because that's in a Sahih Hadith, in Sahih Bukhari 5283, if you want to look that up. So he's saying like, you're just that annoying guy who like actually cares about me and wants to be married to me. And I have no feelings for you. You're just a worthless piece of trash that I've thrown aside, is what he's saying. And then, as this note on the side here says, Mohammed Hijab later apologizes and says that he was lying when he said that he didn't find her attractive. So
yeah,
who knows which one's the truth.
But yeah, she doesn't have to she has the opportunity to break the marriage because she's a free woman and he's a slave. She did not have to become a slave again to take him back. And Muhammad said to her, "Why don't you return to him? Keep him as a slave." And he was weeping. Barira's husband was a slave called Mukvith. As if I am singing him now, going behind Barira, weeping with his tears flowing down his beard. The prophet said to Abbas, "Oh Abbas, are you not astonished at the love of the man for the Barira and the hatred of Barira for her husband?" So it's the hatred of Barira. He's saying that this is a parallel. But yeah. But
Yep. And then the hadith, which you were reading there, just for the audience's sake, it ends with her saying, Muhammad asking why you won't return. She says, "I am not in need of him." So this is what Mohammed Hijab is saying. I'm the character that says, "I don't need you. Get out of my life." So we'll continue on here.
I think without a doubt, it's definitely the opposite.
So she's saying that he's the person who has done the discarding. Anyway, so why are you talking to me if it's the opposite? What do you want?
I'm still under the shock of what you just said.
And Mary was quite shocked about it as well.
And then what she had said previously is every struggle me and my daughter will go through is on your neck, is what she had said that he's reacting to. Although that may have been what she deleted earlier.
Yeah, so there was a deleted message earlier, and we're probably also missing something. She probably didn't manage to capture every single word said. Then we got a couple deleted messages from Mohammed Hijab, and then he says, "We agreed you will leave the Iddah So the waiting period. So she'll wait the waiting period, right, to play out because you felt like a prostitute after agreeing to the hotel/discretion agreement.
And notice how he phrases this. She agreed to the discretion agreement. He phrases it as her agreeing to the hotel.
And then he tells her the lesson here is to be careful what you agree to. So he's basically admitting that he tricked her, right? He's basically admitting that he tricked her. Divorce is halal, and I have given you Amar, so I don't have anything to answer for anymore. So he says, you agreed that we're going to get divorced. There'll be an Ida period. You said you felt like a prostitute. Well, it's on you. You agreed to it. You agreed to the whole thing. You didn't bother to read the contract. Not my fault, right? Not my fault. Your lesson is you should be more careful.
Yeah, and notice that he has given her mahar. Why? Because you can normally, if you demand kula, is it kula? Hula? I forget which. Anyway, I think it's kula. But normally, if you demand divorce from the woman's side, you have to give up your mahar. You have to give up your bride price. But if you are in a Misyar marriage, and the reason that you are demanding it is because you are not getting full rights, you are entitled to it. So he's like, I fulfilled all the Islamic requirements. So there you go. Mahar is bride price. It's the purchase price for sexual access so that a man can acquire dominion over a woman and sexual access. Mm-hmm. And that is literally not true, my little missy. I don't know why you're lying. So
little missy, focus on the topic here. We don't know why you're trying. Well, we do know why you're trying to distract me. That's because this is highly embarrassing to you. But I don't tolerate random off-topic nonsense. So get on topic, please. I'm not even going to bring your message up on screen. It's vile and disgusting. But get on topic or get lost. If you're not willing to talk about Misyar marriage and what Mohammed Hijab did to Aisha, then you're not welcome here. Muhammad al-Islam says, you do not have 4 male Muslim witnesses for hotel interactions. Don't you see? Case closed. Mohammed Hijab wins. And obviously this is a joke, but it's a very serious joke because the jurists have decided in Islamic history that unless you have 4 male witnesses of the penis entering into the vagina, you can't say that the sex act took place. Although you don't need 4 male witnesses for the marriage, right? So you could still have testimony to that. But as far as the sex act itself, of course, you can never testify to any sex act taking place. And thus, it's impossible for a woman who is raped, for example, to get justice in a Sharia-compliant society.
So someone is asking about how is, Hindus have dowry. First of all, in Hinduism, there's a dowry and not a bride price. And secondly, it's constructed entirely differently. The Hindu dowry is more similar to other dowry programs throughout the world, although it's hideously abused and you shouldn't have it in today's age because of all the awful things that are happening with the dowry murders and things like that. But theoretically, what it is it is a replacement for inheritance of the daughter, that you give her inheritance ahead of time. As she's married off and goes out of your house, you give her portion as she leaves your household at that time. And that is her inheritance, and it helps start up the family and as a basis for all sorts of things. So it's her inheritance portion. In Islamic law, mahar is framed as the purchase of dominion over a female, specifically purchase of sexual access to her that allows you to rule her going in and out, that makes her a prisoner of your house. You have purchased her sexuality and access to her sex. That's what it is, a financial transaction to get something. So it is conceived of quite differently.
So Little Missy says Hindus pay the man, Islam pays the woman. I don't actually know anything about Hindus, so I don't really know what their practice is. But a traditional dowry in Christianized societies, yes, the bride's family pays it to the husband, and it's because he's taking over, right?
No,
Providing for her.
the bride's family doesn't pay it to the husband. The bride's family typically pays it for
Well, it's
the new family.
yes, to the new family, not to the husband specifically.
Correct.
Right? To the new family, because the idea is that they've been financially providing for her. Now the husband, as the primary breadwinner, will be responsible for taking care of her. So they're providing that money to get the family started, right? To put them in a good position so that they can then, as a family, work towards a situation where they're able to sustain themselves. Whereas in Islam, the woman is paid for access to her body. So I think you intended this as like some kind of better thing, but you're totally misunderstanding the purpose of a dowry in traditional societies. It's not to pay the husband to take the girl off their hands or something. Yeah, that's just nonsense. All right. So again, I want to emphasize here that Hijab is admitting to everything, right? He's admitting that there was a hotel relationship. He's admitting that he tricked her, saying it's her fault for not reading it. He's saying that I gave you your money. That's all I had to do. We don't know specifically exactly what the price was, but he gave her something that they had agreed upon, and therefore it's all good, right?
Yep.
And then he responds to another message of hers where she said closing ways of communication would never allow any relationship to survive. So she's basically saying, like, not talking to my family, only contacting me when you want sex, whatever. There's no way we could have a real relationship in that regard. And he says, look, you're a good woman. I actually respect you. You have many nice traits. Let me give you a gentle reminder that we are both Muslim people and we have rights over each other. Please refrain from these kinds of messages of pure disrespect and accusation. I know you are hurt, but this is not the way. So let's continue on here. And again, this isn't necessarily every single thing said. She may have captured other things that haven't been shared, or she may just not have been able to capture every single message because she had to take screenshots of everything, right?
Oh, and he was saying something dirty about the kind of headscarf she was wearing here, although that isn't completely, that's only partial. And then he goes on.
And you welcomed an investigation by social services, correct or false?
And so he's threatening her with reporting her kid, probably. I'm sorry, Mohammed, I don't understand why you're doing this.
Answer the question.
We have moved from my story with you to you accusing me of all these things. Why don't you answer mine too? So basically threatening her with social services over her kid if she continues to talk to him. Why did you refuse to honor me? Why are you thinking bad of me without any proper communication or evidence or allowing me to defend myself? Am I not allowed to speak to anyone? Am I not allowed to ask questions? You harmed me because you didn't even divorce me properly. It's as if you did get rid of me. You didn't want me to meet and talk. You treated me as if I am worthless. Ya Allah. Wallahi, I was up to this point still trying to find excuses for you. Then you start charging against me with all this?
Do you want a hotel marriage with Mohammed Tarini, one of the people that she was getting in contact with?
So otherwise, the only reason you would reach out to someone else without using my name and describe the situation, ask whether or not I had done something scuzzy, is because you actually want to bang someone else. Because the reason why Mohammed Hijab is getting rid of her was that, he couldn't keep her happy anymore with only the hotel marriage, and he probably has some other girl waiting in the wings for him too.
Yeah, so he's saying, well, you're going to this guy. Are you trying to get a hotel marriage with him too? obviously he's to demean her, right? He's saying this to try to humiliate her and make her look like, and make her feel like a prostitute, right? He said that you said you felt like a prostitute because of the hotel arrangement. So in response to all her things, like, why are you doing this to me? You made me feel worthless. Why are you threatening me? He's like, well, do you want that hotel marriage? What a scumbag. What an absolute scumbag. And I do believe this is directly following on here because of the timestamps that we're probably not missing any. So this is probably her direct response to that.
Am I away from you? OMG, what kind of question is this?
So yeah, what kind of question is that, right? To say, I do want a hotel marriage to this other guy. Do you want him to think that you're that kind of woman who wants to have hotel marriages? Yes or no? Do you want that reputation?
And then she's like, I never accepted a hotel marriage. The entire reason she divorced him is that she didn't want the hotel marriage. She agreed to the secret, and yeah.
I have all the evidence to the contrary. More of it than you know. Oh, wait, more of it than you know? So he's saying that he was keeping things secret and tricking her? Again, he's saying that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he's the one who highlighted this. I have all this evidence to the contrary. How could he have more evidence than she knows of? What has he done? What has he done?
Yeah, I mean, it appears that he intentionally made that text bold. More of it than you know. He made that text bold.
Yep. And she says, I don't mind, Mohammed, if you publicize this, is what she's saying.
Mm-hmm. What's your next move? What do you want? So
And
now he's
she
starting
says,
to get upset, right?
But the truth is otherwise, because they're texting on top of each other right now. She says, but the truth is otherwise.
Right. So she's still saying, right, the truth of having evidence against her and whatnot.
Yep.
Are you desperate?
Mohammed, what are you doing?
I'm asking.
Imagine marrying that man. He's so gross.
I'm asking, are you desperate?
He is.
Yeah, he
because
certainly
as
is.
soon as this gets out, he's not going to be able to bang women as easily and trade them out like his socks, which is what he's been doing because Islam lets you do this. Islam lets you do this. In Islam, there is no such thing as marriage in its Christian conception. The idea of a companionate union of two people into a new household, which ought not to be disturbed or interfered with in any way, but this is a permanent union of two people into one household where the husband is willing to die for the wife. This is not something that is in this concept. How on earth can you die for your wife? You have 4 of them. You have 4 of them. You buy sexual access, and if you're tired of one, then you get another one to replace her. If you already have one and you get a second one in addition, well, the first wife should give up her rights to make you happy. And you can lie to her, trick her, just not tell her about the next one. All of these things are in Islam because Islam is about the provision of access to women's sex in a way that does not violate the game of rules. So it's all about obtaining the purchase of a woman's sex in a way that Allah is okay with, because Allah is there to cater to the lusts of men. That is what Allah is for. And again, I've mentioned this before. I keep mentioning this because it's so important. The verse in the Quran about how that Allah has made this religion easy for you, that it's easy for you. The Tafsir specifically mention the lusts of men and how many legal halal ways there are for men to get their rocks off as being a reason why Islam is true. Islam is true because you don't have to sin, because in their minds there are 2 things. Either you get your rocks off or you sin. The idea of like resisting temptation, of not being a lustful dirtbag, is just not present in Islam. You should believe in Islam because you are able to get your rocks off with tons of women without actually sinning.
So Little Missy says, Thaddeus knows me. Ask him. I am serious. I know you.
You didn't know who you were a second ago.
Yeah, she doesn't know who I am, but I know her, which I guess just means that from the previous chat, which, yeah, she's been in a chat once.
And so she's like, oh, he doesn't need to cheat. He can just get a second wife and a third wife and a fourth. Again, that's what I'm saying. Little Missy here is agreeing with me. Islam is about men getting their sexual needs fulfilled and using women as trash, as garbage, as objects. In Islam, women are trash. You are accounted with other animals. You bang a wife rather than a cow because you can't make babies with cows. That is what women are for. You purchase women, you use women, you throw women away when you're done with them, because Allah prefers men over women. Men are better. Allah has made the women stupid. Women are not. He does not prefer women as he prefers men. Why? Men can kill other people to take over territories. Women can't. Allah has decided that property lies with the man, so that when you marry, it's just men spending his property on the women. And while women supposedly inherit, that money is still controlled by a man. The idea in Islam is that women are trash and men are fantastic. Paradise is made for men. Muhammad regarded women so little that one of his wives finally complained that you never say anything about women, about what they get. And then you get that great Islamic wonderful passage about how the believing women and the believing men. The only reason that was revealed, Allah was too stupid and he forgot to talk about women, so he had to be reminded by Salama. And she's like, hey, Muhammad, you've never revealed anything about women. He's like, oh yeah, well, the believing women, they also get Jannah. But guess what they get? They get to be another one of the exchangeable wives, if they make it, which they probably won't. Because you need to be grateful as a trash, useless, pathetic woman. You should be more grateful for your husband for the little fragments of attention that he gives you, as you are a prisoner in his house. The Ahadith say that women are prisoners with their husbands. If that is not your experience of Islam, that's because many Muslims are better than what Islam actually teaches about women.
So Little Missy said that niqabis don't even talk to strangers. You don't need to respond to that. But how this got started is Carol B said it's not always better to be married. I was married and it was completely better to be single and raise 3 children on my own than stay married. To which Little Missy said, you didn't marry a Muslim guy. That's why. Islamic marriage is bliss.
Oh, yes. The beating is bliss. If your husband fears that you're uppity, he must beat you according to 434. He must beat you. It's not like he can beat you. No, he should. He must. It's an instruction from Allah that he should beat you. That's bliss. It's bliss to be beaten. It's bliss to be owned. It's bliss to be locked in your house. It's bliss for your husband to run around banging other women. Oh, it's fine because they're also married to him. And no, the women are not faithful. The niqabis are not at all faithful, because women get their revenge on men by cheating flagrantly in Islamic societies. Men dress up as niqabis and come and visit your wives and bang them while you're out. That's why there are all of these things about lengths of pregnancy that are 2 years and 4 years and 7 years and 10 years, depending on what particular madhab you're in and which scholars you follow. The reason why they have these ridiculous rules is because so many women cheat on their husbands because they are so despised and treated so poorly. What women want to be loved, and they are not loved in Islam. And so what do women do? They get their revenge. They get their revenge by the flagrant cheating. That's why DNA tests are not evidence in Islamic societies. Over and over again, when you read all of the stories of previous Westerners who went to these countries and visited them, they say over and over and again just how flagrant the wives' cheating is, how flagrant, hilarious it is. That the men have no idea. It's hilarious how the men are just clueless. Even though a lot of those men are carrying on with the other women, they don't suspect that their own wives are doing the same thing.
Yeah, maybe they do, and they just don't care. In fairness to their intelligence. Allah says, on a more serious note, if someone wants to understand how one ends up like little Missy, read The Rape of the Mind. So, straight from Allah recommendation there. But Missy had one other comment that we need to address. She says polygamy is good because it makes men happy in a moral way, and that's good for society. So women being happy, that's irrelevant, but men being happy, that's good for society. And by the way, little Missy, just because it makes someone happy doesn't make it moral. And if we follow this to the logical conclusion that you know, some percentage of men, perhaps a majority, they want to have multiple wives. Well, that leaves a lot of men that can't have any wives because there's a finite quantity of women. So how is that benefiting society that the rich and powerful men get to have multiple wives and the poor men get to have no wives because all the women are taken?
Well, the rich and powerful wives throw away their wives once they get old and ugly. So that they can rotate more in, so you can get the dregs eventually. The women work their way down the social ladder with each divorce to a poorer man. And no, women are not happy as long as men are happy. Women are not happy with a man who beats them. Women are not happy. One of the Sahaba used to tie his wife's hair together and beat them all. And they were not happy. They were miserable. They were miserable. And one of the women also had a husband who beat her viciously, but she just asked not to be beaten. And they said, well, get a divorce for you, or you can just put up with being beaten. And she decided to put up with being beaten, but she wasn't happy about it because she didn't want the consequences of that particular divorce. So, yeah, I think little Missy here is definitely a man because he talks about his sister being a niqabi, and this kind of nonsense is just hilarious. Real Muslim woman obeys her husband. Guess what? Mm-hmm. In real life, an actual Islamic society, no, they don't. No, they don't. And no, men are not motivated to work harder and be successful, get a wife. Guess what they do? They turn to crime and they kill each other. The societies that are polygamous have extraordinarily high rates of crime among young men.
What a horrible comment. I'm beginning to think that little Missy is not a Muslim at all and is just trolling, except I suspect that's not the case. It sounds so horrific that you'd think it was someone just making fun of Islam, pretending to be a Muslim, but that's probably not actually the case. And little Missy says, I'm not hate watching. I like this channel. I think that little Missy might be a long-term watcher of this channel and is just on a new account name.
I've seen little Missy months ago before.
Okay. Anyway, I'm glad you like the channel. You know, it's teaching you all about true Islam, and you're all in it. That Mohammed Hijab is 100% in the right, and Aisha is 100% in the wrong because it was his right to trick her. It made him happy. A real woman should be happy that she made Mohammed Hijab happy by allowing him to orgasm. And she should just shut up and be glad that she made him happy. So there you go. I don't know if little Missy's a girl or not. I could care less. I'm happy to take you at your word that you're a female. I hope you're not like actually a girl, like a little child, and are saying all this, but I wouldn't rule that out. Anyway, getting back to the text messages here, I scrolled up a little bit because up until this point, Mohammed Hijab seems fairly calm, right? He thinks he's in control of the situation. He thinks he's manipulating her. And then she says, I don't mind Mohammed. And then it seems that there is quite a turn in his attitude. All of a sudden, he's sending these really short, angry sounding messages. Like he's realizing, oh crap, I can't manipulate her, right? And he's losing it. I believe is what is happening at this point in the conversation. So we'll continue on.
How much is left of the conversation?
There are pages and pages of stuff. Then he says, you are a weirdo.
I am shocked.
You should be. I'm shocked you went to another man and spoke to him about my personal life. You are untrustworthy.
I don't get into fights like these.
I have no respect for that. What do you want? Question mark. Answer this one question. What do you want to try and go to war with me? Going to another man and lie?
There's no evidence that she lied. She just asked about the situation. Why don't you answer my questions too, Mohammed?
Listen, back off. Remember, he initiated this conversation, by the way. If you continue your nonsense, you will humiliate yourself. You accepted a hotel marriage.
Yeah, because she didn't instantly kick him out. That's accepting, apparently. All right.
Mm-hmm. And then missing a couple messages, but you go behind my back.
You send me horrible messages. He says, you send me horrible messages. Except he said messages. Duh. No, I just can read the half.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just there's probably still a few missing because there's 4 minutes apart. He probably sent a couple more, but basically it was just ranting. So then he says, you go behind my back to that man.
What happened to you? She says,
lie to him. You are sick. Hey, this is Mohammed Hijab. Who else says you are sick besides Mohammed Hijab? Just saying.
Yep.
Wahali, why are you desperate and obsessed?
You were apologizing earlier.
I have never ever met a woman with less dignity than you. Rubbish.
And then she says, what were you apologizing about? Please just stop.
How dare you? Say sorry.
You're making me lose my mind.
Say sorry. Say sorry for going to another man and speaking about my personal business to him. Say sorry, arrogant woman. Leave me alone.
Say sorry or go to another woman. Is that Islamically wrong?
So, like, is going to another person
it's not
advice and help wrong?
It's not.
Yes. He says yes. Fatwa is not fatwa without reason. What fatwa is he referring to? I don't know, unless it's his own.
Did the something or other not complain about her divorce, and I don't know which one that is. I can't read it. Sorry.
This channel is a cheap imitation of David Wood.
No.
And yet good enough for you to be here, right, buddy?
I'm just going to put you in timeout all the time because this is just ridiculous. Say something actually meaningful or
yeah, please, please defend the actions of Mohammed Hijab or rebuke him or something on topic, not just attempts to insult me. You really think this is going to work, right? You really think insulting me is going to get me mad at you or something? I just find it pathetic. I find it to be that you are so incapable of disputing anything I'm saying that all you can do is make up silly insults. In other words, it's a compliment because you're telling me that what I'm saying is too difficult for you to actually respond to. So thanks for the compliment. Anyways, she's talking about a companion's wife, probably.
Yeah. She had no way back Islamically at that moment.
You're not allowed to reveal my secrets. When you told me you would keep it secret. Are you dumb?
So, like, you promised to be a secret wife. How dare you go to someone else but not even use my name and get fatwa against me?
Mm-hmm.
Are you dumb?
Love Arabic with each other, but first of all, Mohammed Hijab, I think, left Egypt young enough that his Arabic is not his preferred language. And I don't know where she's from and what she spoke, but you pick up Arabic if you're a Muslim in a Muslim-speaking country. You pick up pieces.
So Sheikh Raja Akib says, what is the proof that these texts are sent by Mohammed Hijab and not fake? Well, you're going to see in one of them later on, he says he's Mohammed Hijab. But you're right. Someone could have made pages and pages of text that sound exactly like Mohammed Hijab. It sounded exactly like a natural conversation, and just pretended it was him. We don't have video proof that it was Mohammed Hijab, but you've declared them fake screenshots. Well, what evidence do you have that they're fake? Right? I mean, we have the testimony of a woman.
So
I know that's only worth half, right? I'm only worth half, but we have her testimony. We have the testimony of a Muslim male who has reviewed these and determined them to be correct. Multiple Muslim males, in fact, have reviewed these and determined that this is, in fact, Mohammed Hijab.
So again,
these messages.
Are you going to be stupid enough to believe Mohammed Hijab, who claimed first that he had no idea who she was, then claimed she was a long-term stalker, then released his own text that proved that she was in no way a stalker at all and that he is lying about that? So why are you going to say and prove that he was advising her on marriage and was trying to arrange, or at least claiming to try to arrange, a marriage for her?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going to claim that whenever that you believe him when he's been lying to you all along?
Yeah, and he's still saying that she's a stalker.
Voila. And I think I remember somebody's given me the actual name. I usually read Arabic using transliteration because my
see, this is the proof that you don't know anything about Islam, because you can't read Arabic easily, at least.
So
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, she's talking about someone. Did someone not complain about her divorce? It doesn't really matter what the name is.
So she was divorced by a form of divorce that was allowed during pre-Islamic times. One day, her husband divorced her by this marriage, and basically she complained, and he said that, it's you are to the back of me of my mother. So there used to be a way to basically make your relation to your wife incestuous by saying that you are like my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so I won't sleep with you anymore. And she complained about that and got a fatwa from Muhammad himself against it. So yeah, it's that story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so of course, Sheikh Raja, who are just going to believe Mohammed Hijab no matter how much evidence is put out. Right? There could be a video recording of Mohammed Hijab climbing on top of her.
Be right back.
And he'd be like, it was probably just AI. What's the proof that this is actually Mohammed Hijab and not an AI fake? So no amount of evidence will ever satisfy Sheikh Raja. But for thinking people, there is plenty of evidence out there. So I did have a question from Allah saying, if I write strip in the chat, does that make Mohammed Hijab strip? So Mary actually disconnected, which it caused the thing to mess up. But we don't need that on the screen at this exact moment. Anyway, she'll be right back. But you actually have to trigger that command intentionally. Some of them you can trigger just by your words, which I brought this up because we do have a new animation today, which I forgot to mention at the start of this. If you've been paying attention, it should be pretty easy to figure out how to trigger that one, because I've talked about wanting to do that. It is now in place. So we'll see who figures that out first. Yeah, you have to actually do the strip as a command because it will charge you points for that one. The ones where you don't have to intentionally trigger it don't cost any points. Fake account calling screenshot fake. You can't make this up. Yeah, good point, right? Who's to say that Raja? Right? I mean, and I was going to go to the channel and see when it was created, but it is actually irrelevant if it was created today or not. I don't. When did I throw a temperature tantrum? Apparently I threw a temper tantrum about being compared to David Wood. No, I consider that a great compliment. As I told you, I consider that a great compliment. So why are you saying I threw a temper tantrum? Mr. Jam Yang, So until you get on topic, you're just going to be put in timeout over and over again. I really don't care what you think about me. You can spew all kinds of nonsense. Okay. Now that Mary left. Really? Or does anyone? No one else has said it, so I'm not sure. Maybe you're at the start of the stream, or anyway. Jebediah said, "What happened to the cat cam?" I don't have a cat here right now. Good morning. When Thaddeus snaps, everyone knows. Okay, so my sound is cutting. Weird. This is so weird. Like literally, there's zero reason why that should be happening. But let me disconnect myself and reconnect it, because that fixed it when we had the problem earlier today. So screen's going to go black for a couple seconds. I'll be right back. All right, I should be back now. Hopefully the sound is fixed. Let me do this. This might help as well. So is the sound better? I obviously can't hear myself. So let me know if the sound is better now that I am back. Time to get to a paid streaming platform. So the problem is, Breakfast Gun, that all my animations are dependent on me running the stream myself. And I actually do pay for the software. Audio is in sync, at least. Audio is good. All right. So I think that fixed the problem. Yes. Say Bishmal for a good connection. Yeah, that was the problem. I forgot to say the magic words. I'm going to add Mary to the scene. I don't know if that's going to work. It doesn't look like she's connected properly. Can you hear me, Mary? Yeah, I don't think you're connected, Mary, unfortunately. So I'm going to go ahead and remove you, and I'm going to take one of these super chats while we wait for Mary to hopefully get hers fixed. First one is actually Tashiana became a channel member.
You want your wealth to increase in this dunya, then give sadaqah more and more every single day. 2 angels come down, one of them is making dua for those who give. He says, Ya Allah, give those who give.
Thank you very much for signing up as a supporter of the channel. And remember that the angels are watching. So make sure to make all your donations now, because when you're in the grave, it will be too late for that. Any hints, clues on the new animation? Well, it's something that is related to the Mohammed Hijab story. It's something that we've talked about a couple times recently. So you should be connected now, Mary.
Can I guess what it is?
Yeah, you can.
Neurotypical woman.
You might or might not be correct. I have to put it in the chat to find out. or someone will anyway.
Someone has to. I'm driving.
Yes, that's fine. So Mary is super, super loud. Let me turn her down a little bit. And she's also not showing up on the screen. So let me refresh the page for that purpose. And since Mary's now driving, I'll read both parts going forward. But hopefully the audio, there we go. All right, so that's working now. So hopefully the audio it stays good. So did it trigger? It is in fact neurotypical is the keyword. I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if it actually triggered. So let me. Oh, it's okay. I think it had accidentally been disabled. So try it again. Oh my gosh. So try neurotypical again. No one's typed it since I said to try it again. Oh, I could just type it myself. Why am I asking you guys to when there's a delay, right? Let's see. Oh, shoot. It didn't trigger. What's up with that? Commands, neurotypical, should work. I don't understand why it's not working, honestly. So let me just manually trigger it. So we got the neuro analyzer active here. So first the brain goes in, then the Quran goes in. Result, neurotypical. And yeah, I'm looking at it. It is spelled right. So I'll figure out why it's not triggering. Testing it later. But it absolutely looks like it should. So I'm not actually sure what's going wrong as to why it's not triggering. Oh, wait, I think I might know. Sorry. This is all great content here. Yep. I forgot to edit the trigger. So it was being triggered by a different keyword. All right, it should work now. Breakfast Gun says that animation is pretty slick, and he's totally not biased because he didn't make it or anything along those lines. And there we go. Yep, weird stuff triggered it successfully. So it has now been officially triggered, and we're all good. And Mary has disconnected. She lost connection. So let me take another super chat. This one from Ultra.
Sir, how can we contribute financially for your organization? They get in touch with me. And very easy, people know where I am. And once they get in touch with me to contribute without causing problem, to contribute in big amounts. And many people call me for lunch and for dinner and for meal, and for every meal they give big amounts, alhamdulillah. So those who really want to contribute, they come and meet me.
If you want to donate big amounts, come meet Zakir Naik in person. Oh, we got Halloween mode going on here. Very nice, very nice.
Am I back yet?
And Mary is back. Go ahead and speak again just so I can make sure.
Yeah, I can continue to hear you throughout. You're like, Mary's gone. I'm like, no, I'm not, because I'm only listening to you on theology.chat. But oh well.
Oh, that's interesting. You disappeared from my screen. Maybe the audience would have still been able to hear you, in which obviously you've disappeared from my screen. If they can still hear you, it's no big deal. So next time that happens, we'll check. And I'm going to actually, instead of like keeping to mess around with her showing on the screen, I'm just going to highlight myself because we don't need to see Mary's image anyway. We'll just hear her, right?
Right.
All right. So let's get back to the text messages then. Hopefully when I add these to the scene, our audio doesn't up. And we can still, it's put Mary as the as the screen share. And okay, let me fix it. I was hoping not to have to refresh, but there's definitely some new bugs introduced into this software recently. I should probably like just go to the non-beta version and use the stable version.
You
the
think?
the creator recommended to use the beta because it has the newest features, but there seems to be some very new bugs being introduced here.
He just wants you to be a guinea pig.
Yeah. Oh, he does need people to test, so there is that. And get the right video so Mary can see what's on the screen. Well, I guess she
can't
probably
see anything
can't
'cause
because
I'm
she's
driving.
driving
Yep.
anyway, so it didn't even matter. All right. Let me know if there's any further issues. Thank you, Ultra, for the super chat. It said G Fire Block. So thank you very much for that. So let's go ahead. Sorry about all the tech issues today. Continue on with the text. I'm going to be reading both parts, but I'll make it clear when I am switching between one and the other. Cool. All right. So she said that she has no way back Islamically at the moment, to which Mohammed Hijab replies, "You're not allowed to reveal my secrets when you told me you keep it secret. Are you dumb?
Are you dumb?
And then we see the "Are you dumb?" So we know for sure that we're not missing any messages here. Aisha says, "But there were many things I couldn't understand, and you were not willing to talk." So she didn't understand what had happened, and he wouldn't talk to her. He ghosted her, and so she sought help. Mohammed Hijab responds, "You made an agreement with me. You made an agreement, and you broke it." An agreement to keep it secret, I think, is what he's referring to here. And then she says, "Mohammed, I gave you my life." I was a Amina, my dad gave you. What does that mean, Mary? Amanah. I don't actually know what that word means. If you're talking, Mary, we're not hearing you anymore.
It means like pure. Amina means like pure.
Okay, so she was pure, I guess, because she was divorced, so she obviously had sex before and had a daughter. She'd obviously had sex before, so she's not saying she was a virgin, but she's saying that Islamically there was no fault in her. I think it's what she's saying then, right?
Yeah.
He said "you are" for some reason. He didn't finish his thought, so we'll just ignore that one.
Well, I think he might be saying that she still is Islamically fine because there was nothing wrong with their marriage.
No, he actually said that before she said that message.
Oh, okay.
So I think that he just accidentally hit enter and didn't finish his thought. So we'll just skip that one. "You have the traits of the hypocrites. Okay, shall I call him and send him all the evidence?" Like her dad, right? Should I call up her dad, and show him that she's just a prostitute and get them translated? So I think he's saying that he made her sign a contract in Arabic, but she also knows Arabic, so I don't know why it needed to be translated.
Translate for her father. It might be
maybe
in
her
English.
father doesn't speak Arabic, or maybe it's in English and he doesn't speak English. That's good too. Anyway, I had to plug in the laptop. All right, cool. We're good there. And let him decide whether you agree to the sex marriage or not. So this is Mohammed Hijab describing the marriage. He says it's a sex marriage. "When you explicitly told me," and then she says, "sex marriage?" Multiple exclamation points and question marks. Sex marriage? Because he says you agreed to the sex marriage.
Aren't you grateful? You got my D.
Mm-hmm.
Ah!
And I think that these are out of order because I think that what he's replying to there is actually in a later text, but we'll just go in the order they're in the document. I think that this is out of order because there is a screenshot where she says it's not like I've spoken in public. But he's replying to that and says, "If you do, I would simply say you couldn't satisfy me sexually." Real classy guy. I don't understand. She says, I don't understand what you were apologizing about earlier. He says, I apologize for hurting your feelings. When you then said, I don't know if I can forgive you. So she did say that earlier on in the conversation, that she couldn't forgive him for what he did. And he apologized for hurting her feelings. Not for what he did to her, just for hurting her feelings in the process. Then she says, but what are you doing? So he said, I apologize for hurting your feelings. And she says, but what are you doing now? Are you not hurting me more now? And then he says, you hurt me! And you're making me not like you at all.
God, he's such a dirtbag.
So she hurt him by, uh-oh, my sound's no good again. What the heck? What the heck? I don't understand what's going on today. It's fine, and then I disconnect and reconnect, and it's fine again.
I wouldn't be
Oh, my
surprised
goodness.
if mine gets spotty because I'm on cell. So if it's just me, guys, that's probably because I happen to be driving through an odd spot.
It only takes 2 seconds. I'm just going to disconnect and reconnect.
Now you're gone for me.
Add us to the scene, then they can hear us, but then the screen share doesn't work right. Oh my goodness, this is such a disaster. So problem. Okay, so I can do that. Here's what I can do. I can switch out of using my software to control the scene. It'll look slightly different, but it just means anytime I change it, I have to remember to do that again. So whatever. Good enough. Good enough. It's back. You can hear me. You can hear Mary.
Yay.
Oh my goodness. I'm definitely gonna like debug this before. And every time I turn the comment on and off, I got to refresh the stupid thing. Well, because I'm no longer using my software, but when I take this comment off, then my software will reset the scene. Anyway, I probably won't pull up comments very often. Continuing with the text. So Mohammed Hijab says, you hurt me. And then she says, are Muslim women not allowed to speak to a Qadi? Qadi is a jurist, right?
Yes, and of course they are.
And then he says, revealing secrets, breaking contracts, not without an issue of qada.
Which is what she had, which is an issue of Islamic jurisprudence. Can she talk to someone who is a judge? He's like, not unless you have some sort of question for a judge, which she did. So here he's just lying to her.
Right. You can't speak to a judge unless you have a question for a judge. But she did have a question because she wanted to know if she was wronged Islamically. And she wasn't even using his name. She just wanted to know about her situation at this point.
Yeah.
And then she says, I just mentioned the story of someone. I can't read Arabic, so I'm not sure who.
I can't see anything at all right now. So
Yeah, that's fine. We
it's
won't worry about it.
probably Ahwala again, which is the story of the "You're like a mother's back to me." But if that's the story, then it actually isn't the same story at all. So I don't know. Let's see if someone in the chat can, like, I can't look at the screen at all. So.
Right. Yeah. So don't know what who she's talking about, but it is probably the same as the first time, which we never definitively answered since it didn't make sense. Then Mohammed Hijab says, are Muslim people allowed to break contracts and reveal secrets? Well, Muhammad, the prophet, was. But in any case, she says, Muhammad, you are not even aware of the degree of harm I have gone through. So
He doesn't care.
And he definitely doesn't care, because how does he respond? Yes or no, right? To his question, are people allowed to break contracts and reveal secrets? Frankly, neither do you. You are a selfish narcissist. Only care about yourself.
You don't care about my poor pee-pee that wants to be warm. How dare you?
Oh, and then he tries to guilt trip her, right? You only care about yourself. You're a selfish narcissist. Obviously, him describing himself. But then he tries to guilt trip her. I would have thought with the issues of Palestine, that would make you heed.
Oh,
like,
my
how
goodness.
dare you talk about me abusing you in this time where we got to all be focused on Palestine?
That's amazing. He's such a dirtbag. Such a dirtbag. By the way, Darvo, deny, accuse, reverse, victim, and offender. Absolutely textbook narcissist behavior. He is absolutely doing that. He denies that he does this, and then he accuses her of stuff, and he reverses the victim, which is her, and the offender, which is him.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing this to me?
And then he says, you are not a victim. Yes, she is. She is absolutely a victim. So then she says, subhanallah. And he says, nothing of oppression happened to you. What oppressive act happened to you? How did I oppress you?
It's like saying, how did the companion press his wives when he would tie their hair together and beat them all so they can't run away?
And then
he did nothing wrong in Islam.
Mm-hmm. And then he says, I'll tell you. She says, I'll tell you. And then he says, Islamic, several wrong letters. Obviously, he's trying to say Islamically. So how did I oppress you Islamically? Yeah, maybe I oppressed you according to Western Christian values, but how did I oppress you Islamically? And he says, go on, clearly tell me how you've been oppressed. So cargo crew, things are going to mess up. I'll fix it here in a second. Cargo crew said, didn't you cover the text earlier? I remember this Palestine line. So a couple of these messages, 5 pages of them surfaced on Saturday night or Sunday morning, and I covered them on Sunday afternoon. But then late Sunday, the full amount of texts amounting to like 25 pages dropped. So a few of these you may have seen before, but by and large, this is stuff I haven't covered before. All right, so, well, I should have pulled the comment off first because I'm going to reset the screen again. Oh my goodness. Again, I'll debug this stupid software after the stream. For now, just doing the best I can with it messing up constantly. And so then Aisha says, but I've been impressed to the point where I'm not, but if I am oppressed to the point where I am not even allowed to speak. So Hijab, earlier in this conversation, right, he was saying that you can't talk to anyone. You have to keep this a secret. So how is she supposed to explain how she's oppressed if she can't even talk to anyone about it? Is what she's getting at here. I know this isn't directed at me. Latia says there's no, your God is a demon. Context, there is no salvation in Islam. So obviously the Islamic God is a demon, which I agree with. I agree with 100%. Mary has lost connection as near as I can tell. Don't hear her. So yes, I'll assume that she has lost connection. And let's take a super. Oh, I can hear you now. You're reconnected. Yep, I can hear you. Speak again. I'm not sure the audience is hearing you. I am. So yeah. I give it one more try. Yeah, so they couldn't hear you, Mary, but I'm resetting. Oh, yeah, it looks like you're, at least from my end, it looks like you're not connected properly now. So, oh, there it goes. It might be working now. It might be working.
Well, I just rejoined, so.
Oh, okay, cool.
that would be why.
All right, yeah. So we got Mary fixed there. Got the screen share working. You can hear again. All kinds of problems today. Obviously, this is the curse of Allah trying to prevent us from getting this material out there. Yeah, I know you can't hear. Guys, I know. It's fixed now.
It should be fixed. We should all be good. I just go into a spot that has no cell phone coverage for some reason, and I'll be there again in half an hour. But for now, we're good.
All right. So I don't know if you heard it or not, Mary, but the last thing Aisha said is, if I'm oppressed to the point where I'm not even allowed to speak, then how am I supposed to tell you how I'm oppressed, right? is what she's getting at.
Sounds about right.
And then we go to the next page. But you have made me start to strongly dislike you. She says, it's as if you're a completely different person.
Well, yeah, he's not manipulating her into bed anymore. He's already gotten what he wants.
You're oppressive, narcissist. Again, so funny him calling someone else a narcissist. Especially this poor woman. And she says, all this just because I have done something allowed in Islam. Then it would something allowed in Islam, i.e., talking to a jurist or a judge to get advice on how to proceed with my situation. All right, that's what she's referring to. And then he says, it was allowed for me to divorce you. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, I think that's supposed to say that. It says FHST, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be that. Is that oppression? Yes or no? And then, because they're like typing simultaneously, she says, which is seeking fatwa, but she's clarifying what she meant by what's allowed in Islam. I already clarified it. Yes or no? You haven't answered a question. You are a coward and a hypocrite. Again, classic hijab language here. You want to go to Al-Kamli, Kamly. I don't know if that's Islamic reference there or it's like an actual name of someone that she wants to go to. I was thinking that Mary would jump in. We might not be hearing her again.
Oh, can you hear me now? Was it just my lock screen? Okay, so when I'm on my lock screen, when it goes to sleep. You can't hear me. Yeah, I think it's just a person. I
Okay.
think it's just a person.
Then she said, I wanted someone to liaise between us, Mohammed. To which he says, and you want to spread my personal information to all people. Yeah, to
Well,
all
now
people.
it is. Now it is.
The irony here is she wanted to not spread his personal information to all people, but because he got so upset about her talking to a couple individuals in private, now it is spread to all people. And she says, I needed answers. You broke my agreement with you. I thought this agreement never existed, right? He seems so concerned about her breaking the secret nikah agreement that it never happened. Strange. And then she says, I was shocked and confused. Say sorry. I just spoke to one person. Say sorry. Right. She did earlier say she spoke to, I think, 3 or 4 people, but only one of them did she use his name when speaking to them. So only one person knows that this is about hijab at this point, which isn't Ali Dawa. It's Tawani or whatever his name was exactly. She went to him for advice and used Muhammad's name. In the conversation with Ali Dawa, she didn't use his name, according to other information out there. And then she says, and you apologized to me after you knew about it. What happened that changed your position? So I guess she's saying that he found out about the her going to get advice, and then he found out about it. He got mad, and then he apologized, saying that he was wrong.
Well, he probably apologized to shut her up.
Yeah, I think so.
Would be like, oh, I'm sorry that you felt used, but now our marriage is over, you should shut up.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what happened. That he gave a fake apology to try to appease her. And then he says, I haven't. I apologized for hurting your feelings. So he's saying, my apology was only about your hurt feelings, not about my accusations against you, right? And like, I accused you of doing something wrong, and then I apologized, but I apologized for hurting your feelings, not for accusing you of doing something wrong, because I've always believed you did something wrong when you revealed the secret marriage. Wow. She says, yes, after you knew I spoke to him. So he apologized for hurting her feelings after he already knew about this, right? And now I'm letting you know you have not only hurt my feelings, but you have betrayed me and revealed my secret to another person. Yeah. All right. Jam Yang, I've timed you out like 4 times, giving you the same warning like 4 times. This will be the last time I time you out. You come back one more time and you just try to insult me, then you will just be permanently blocked. All right. I'm glad that you stayed on the stream for like 40 minutes to get in another attempt at insulting me over and over again. But next time, you're just going to be permanently blocked. So think about your actions before you come back a 5th or 6th time from timeout. So, he said that you betrayed me, you revealed my secret to another person. And then she says, and what happened to me? Right? Was I not wronged in this situation? He responds, you are not trustworthy. So what do you want? And then this message is cut off, so we don't know what he said. But the message ends with someone else's right away. And then she said, how many times are you going to test if I am trustworthy or not? How many years of my life? This already happened for almost 4, and talking to one sheikh is not wrong. So this was somewhere around a year ago, probably, based on that almost 4, since she says it's been about 5 years now. So this was roughly a year ago. Gives you an idea of how long she was trying to get justice behind the scenes, right? Trying not to make this an embarrassment for hijab and just get her rights as she saw them. and he's been denying it and blocking it this whole time. And so she's finally gone public with it. Now, but not at the time of the text. So then he goes back to his previous tactic. So how do you know if Tawani doesn't want a hotel marriage? Perhaps you gave him that impression. So again, I think these might be out of order. They might not have put them in the correct order. This could have been shortly after the first time he mentioned or tried to imply that she was trying to get a hotel marriage with him. So now he's saying, well, how do you know he doesn't want a hotel marriage? She actually said, I don't, right? This isn't what I wanted, but he's saying that how do you know he doesn't want one? If you didn't tell him that you wanted one. What a sick guy. And Mary, if you want to jump in, remember that you have to unlock your phone, because if you've been trying to say stuff, we haven't been hearing you.
Yeah, I realize that I'm actually in getting gas right now, but I'll be there in a second. But one thing that is quite significant that she had said earlier is, hang on one second, is that she said that this is not something that I should have to conceal. And that's interesting too, because of course, concealed sins are the ones that Allah has decided will be forgiven in this life, and concealed in this life are forgiven in the next, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she's saying this is not one of those things. Why? Because she was the one who's wronged, and you're allowed to speak about yourself being wrong. But the interesting thing is that this is basically saying that if she had been witness to, say, him assaulting another woman or a child or something, then she wouldn't have brought it out in public because it didn't involve her directly. That it's because she has a position in it that she's allowed to speak about it. And I thought that was kind of interesting that she's absorbed these really foul values that have become part of her own thinking, even as she's trying to get justice for herself.
Mm-hmm. And she does end her testimony saying in Arabic that you've ruined my life, but I've ruined your hereafter. And she may be alluding to that the secret is no longer concealed, right? The sin is no longer concealed. That means that hijab is now accountable for it on Allah's slate. So she could actually be referring to
Yep.
that. Anyway, so she says to him, repeating this ridiculous accusation that she was trying to get a hotel marriage with this other guy, Muhammad, I'm not interested in anyone, right? She's not interested in guys right now after all she went through with Mohammed Hijab. And then he says, is that the reputation you want? Sex marriages with married men? And then she said, I respected your knowledge. And then he's just continuing, right? This isn't a response to I respected your knowledge, but just continuing. No strings attached. Sex marriages with married men, no strings attached. Well, that's what he saw it as, huh? He's admitting what he saw the relationship as. Who do you expect to feel sorry for you?
Here's what's remarkable. He is using to insult her the very thing that he tricked her into. Mm-hmm. Right? This is not what she wanted. It's not what she asked for. It's what he tricked her into. And that, he realizes how demeaning it is by using it as an insult. He knew he was tricking her into something demeaning. The reason why he doesn't want to get caught out is because he wants to trick more women into this demeaning thing that he has done repeatedly with multiple women. So it's quite remarkable. He's going to shut them all up before now. He thinks that he can threaten her. He doesn't realize that eventually you'll run into a woman who can't be threatened that way, which he just has. And then it comes out and he's embarrassed.
Yep. Alexander said, honestly, what even is this religion? Pure evil, to answer your question. And he says, who do you expect to feel sorry for you? Women will not, men will not, and the religion considers what I have done as legitimate. So he's not denying anything, right? he publicly he's decided that he's going to deny it, but to her he's saying, no, it's all halal. There's nothing wrong here. And I would say that
And will she be hated? Yeah, and will she be hated by a lot of women? Yeah, because
oh yeah,
most women are first wives, and they will see Sheena be a secret second wife that she got. She decided that she wanted to get hers from.
unfortunately, looks like Mary lost cell phone reception there. Audio got really bad, and then she back now. You're back now.
By that they'll be like, oh, boo-hoo, your trick to the secret second wife didn't work. Wow, I really feel sorry for you there. So yeah, in general, it would not be something that the vast majority of women who are mostly first wives would be sympathetic to. So I'm right about that. That it's non-Islamic women who have some sympathy because we see her as a victim, as all Islamic women are victims.
Yeah, so I know that Mary's sound is bad, but that's actually on her this time. It's actually not the stream messing up this time. So the question was, who will feel sorry for you? And Morkay says, we feel sorry for her, but for him, we do not. And that is actually the real answer here, right? That Christians and non-Muslims in general probably feel sorry for her, feel that she was abused, feel that she was wronged, but some Muslim men and some Muslim will, but it'll be a small minority. The majority will not feel sorry for her at all. And yeah, Mary has disconnected again. Remember, she's driving, cell reception's in and out. She'll be back in a second. Let me take a super chat while we give her a chance to reconnect from our Kitsune.
Wasting your time on social media is one of the best deeds a Muslim can do. There's a huge need for it. You know this and I know this. So that makes the reward even greater. So give generously and Allah Azza wa Jal will give you even more.
Thank you very much for that €2 donation. Remember, Allah will give you even more in return. Haha, you see, I'm guilty. Mojab, the great ape. Yeah. He thought that these texts didn't exist, right? He thought that all the evidence had been deleted and thus he could get away with it. But Aisha was too smart for him. She kept the texts, and now he's being exposed. And yes, we're going to have plenty of Muslims come into the chat and say, there's no proof that these are from Mohammed Hijab, but no person who is not already committed to defending him no matter what would doubt the authenticity of these texts. All right. Everything in the text is consistent with what Aisha said. None of it's consistent with what Muhammad has said. And like I said, he's later going to contact her from a second number after she blocks him and say, this is Mohammed Hijab contacting you from a different number. Also, he kind of admitted this when he put his little challenge out and said that when you produce the evidence, make sure it comes from my phone number ending in 97, because he knew that he contacted her under a different number, and thus he's trying to pre-frame the narrative that it can only come from this one phone number. He's manipulating, right? He's trying to manipulate the whole situation. And I believe, based on the comments made, it hasn't surfaced publicly yet, but I believe that she also has voicemails from Mohammed Hijab. So then they're just going to say, of course, that it's a fake voice, someone impersonating him, or it's an AI voice or whatever. I mean, if you want to deny it, you can deny it. You can deny infinitely, but no sane person is going to discard all this evidence. And if Mohammed Hijab actually thought that she was libeling him, he would file a lawsuit. But he won't do that, because in a lawsuit, you have to testify under oath, and you have to go through the discovery process and his private records would become part of her lawyer's arsenal. And I'm sure he has plenty of private records about what he did. So Mary sort of connected, but didn't connect properly. So I added her, but I'm pretty sure that you won't be able to hear her and I won't be able to hear her. So I'll just go ahead and
Sir, how can we contribute financially for your organization? They get in touch with me. And very easy, people know where I am. And once they get in touch with me to contribute without causing problem, to contribute in big amounts. And many people call me for lunch and for dinner and for meal. And for every meal, they give big amounts, alhamdulillah. So those who really want to contribute, they come and meet me.
So BudFeed UK, with using their free virtual super chat, the supporter message each month, you get one free supporter message by being a channel member. It says, to all the poor Aishas worldwide, praying for you. Absolutely. Let's pray for Aisha. Let's pray for all the women affected by the same kind of abuse, because this is absolutely endemic in Islamic societies, unfortunately. In the earlier clip of Mohammed Hijab describing this practice before anyone knew that he had personally done it. So Mary sent me a message, said, totally dead, cell reception will better in 10 minutes. So Mary will be back in about 10 minutes. But no worries, I'm going to continue on with the messages. But anyway, to finish the thought, that we should definitely be praying for Aisha, praying for all the women, pray that Islam is exposed and that people come to the realization that this is wrong. And if the religion allows this, then there's something wrong with the religion. All right, so picking up where we left off, Mohammed Hijab says, and the religion considers what I have done as legitimate. And I can't prove him wrong, unfortunately. And then this is sometime later, I believe. Let me just check. Just a few minutes later, actually. I think your ex-husband tried to call me multiple times. So I don't know if she tried to have her ex-husband call Hijab or not. She doesn't say one way or another. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't, but hardly a horrible thing to do, even if she did. She says, why am I being treated like this? But I need help, someone between us to solve this. So she's like, the whole conversation is about her going to Islamic scholars or jurists or judges to try to get help in the situation, needs someone to intervene in the situation. And she says, I need help because I need someone to solve this situation. And he says, solve what? And she says, this. So like he's implying there's nothing to solve, right? He's implying there's nothing to solve. And then he goes, now he's going to try a new tactic. You want money? Are you desperate for money? That's what, this Tiraway. So this is what Tarani, or Taranawi, or whatever his name is exactly, said. So he said that Mohammed Hijab is saying that the sheikh that she talked to, that says that she wants money. That you claim I didn't give you money, liar. Wait, if she's a liar about him not giving her money, what is the logical conclusion there? That he did give her money. But I thought she was just a crazy stalker and nothing happened between them. But apparently he gave her money. Apparently he paid for access to her body. Oh, you know exactly what she said happened? Huh. Interesting. You claim I didn't give you money, but that means you're a liar, a liar, a liar, 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 liar. 9 times. 9 times. He sends the word liar within 1 minute. Probably within a few seconds, given that 2 other messages were sent within the same minute. So within a few seconds, he sends this message liar 9 times. And then she replies, okay, just stop, please. Right? Enough. I get it. You think I'm a liar. Continuing on the conversation, may Allah deal with you. May Allah deal with you. To which she replies, at this point, I don't even think it's you on the other side of the line. This is so insane the way you're behaving. This is so out of line, so crazy that I can't even imagine that this is Mohammed Hijab speaking. By the way, do you really think they would put that line in there if they're faking the text? I don't think it's actually Mohammed Hijab. Send a message. Oh, I think it's actually you, Mohammed Hijab, on the line. That would be a very strange thing for someone to put in a fake screenshot. Welcome back, Mary. We just got Mohammed Hijab calling Aisha a liar repeatedly. She asked him to stop. He says, may Allah deal with you. And then she says, at this point, I don't even think it's you on the other side of the line. Like, this is so crazy. It's not even you. It's a demon speaking or something. And although you're joined, I'm not hearing you. I guess we're not hearing Mary. All right. Well, hopefully she figures out that we're not hearing us and fixes that. I guess I'll just continue on. You are a liar and a traitor. And then she says, what is the lie? When did I lie about anything? Yeah, I got technically revealed your secret by asking for help, but when did I lie? And she says, that I didn't. He says, that I didn't give you money. Liar. May Allah deal with you. Isn't it interesting that what seems to have upset him the most in this entire conversation is that he thinks she accused him of not paying up, not paying for his prostitute. And he's like, no, I did pay. I paid you good. I paid you right. I paid you lots of money. What is your problem? And then she says, you only paid for the hotel. Liar. And he says, Mar, liar, 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 liar. And she said, I didn't claim I didn't get the Mar. Right? She didn't say that. If that's what he's referring to when he said you didn't pay me, then I didn't say that. I may have said that you didn't pay me for the encounter on a daily basis, or how many ever times it happened, because you didn't. You only paid for the hotel. You didn't like buy me a nice meal or give me a gift or anything. All you did is pay for the hotel, which you obviously had to do in order to use the hotel room. So you didn't give anything to me for the sex, but I did agree that you gave me the bride price. I did agree that you paid for the initial price. So then Hijab says, listen, you liar. Don't ever talk to me again. He's totally lost it at this point, right? Hijab has totally lost it. And he has no idea what to do. He's gone crazy. Gotten very emotional, to use his words. So Amina says, I'm not Muslim, I was raised Christian. You don't have to be rude to me. Well, who is rude to you? So Amina, this is so funny. Maybe someone made a rude comment. I don't know. But this is your initial. You come into this chat about how Mohammed Hijab has abused this poor woman, and you come in and you're like, man-made doctrines from the Nicene Creed in 325 AD. Early church did not believe this. We're talking about Mohammed Hijab and his disgusting behavior. And what you come in is you start spouting some nonsense about Nicaea, when you have no idea about anything, well, great. Great. I'm very happy to know that something are man-made doctrines from the Nicene Creed. Is Mohammed Hijab's speech man-made doctrines from the Nicene Creed? No? Oh, well, then you're totally off topic and you need to get on topic or get lost. And if you want to call that rude, then fine, that's rude. But I don't think that someone who is claiming to not be a Muslim comes into a chat about Mohammed Hijab and tries to distract from it by talking about Christian doctrine. Obviously, you are not interested in the sexual abuse of Muhammad, right? You don't care. You think it's perfectly fine. You have no problems with anything that Mohammed Hijab did. So get on topic or get lost. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Mohammed Hijab. Mary keeps disconnecting and reconnecting. Hopefully her audio is finally working. Looks like not. I could try refreshing on my end. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's on Mary's end, but I can try refreshing on my end just to be sure. So give me 1 second. Oh yeah, when I refreshed, I don't even see her in the room. So yeah, definitely seems to be her. Here she comes back. Hopefully it'll work this time. Give it a second for her to fully connect. And it's not connecting. You see her M on the screen, but it doesn't show us connected fully. So I'm sure we're probably not going to be able to hear her. Oh, goodness. Between issues on the streaming software and issues on Mary's cell reception, just not a good day for technology. Let's say that. Again, obviously it's a law trying to interfere, but he's so weak he can't actually just shut us down or something like that. Looks like Mary's fully connected now. Fingers crossed. Nope. No audio from Mary still. All right, I guess I'll just continue on. So she's asked, what is the lie, right? Because he keeps calling her liar, 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 liar. You said I didn't give you money. And then she said, you gave me the mahr and paid for the hotel. Did you give me anything else? And then he says, okay, so what do you want? So like he's acknowledging that that's correct, basically. That's all he did. He gave her the bride price and then he paid for the hotel rooms. But he didn't buy her meals. He didn't give her gifts. He didn't do anything else. Certainly didn't support her child, provide her residence or anything else. All he did is pay for a hotel room. And then Hijab says, so, okay, so what do you want? Did we agree that I would pay for other things, right? Give you something else? Yes or no, liar? And then she said, did we agree you wouldn't? So this is the heart of the dispute. The dispute isn't whether any of this happened or not. The dispute is that she was under the impression, based on his verbal promises, that she would be treated like a normal wife, to the extent that would be possible in this kind of arrangement, that, you know, he'd provide for her daughter, he'd provide for the family financially, he'd visit them, take care of them. And the contract that he made her sign didn't specify that, because those were lies that he told her. And so her expectation didn't meet what the contract said, and she didn't know that. And that is the heart of the dispute in the matter. And then he says, hey, liar, yes or no? And then she says, Muhammad, I don't want to talk anymore. Because they're just going to keep going in circles. She's going to say, you made all these promises. And he's going to say, yes, but did the contract say that? remember the first message he sent her, or maybe like the second, but one of the very first messages, and he initiated this conversation because he found out that she was trying to get help. He initiated the conversation and he said, the lesson for you to learn here is to be more careful. Just because I made promises, just because you thought you understood what this marriage was going to be about, you were wrong. It's your fault. You didn't pay enough attention and read the fine print of the contract and know that I wasn't promising you anything in the contract. And then Hijab says, question mark. And then he says, yeah, you're too busy. Like he's been a complete ass. Like she's really upset. She doesn't want to talk anymore. And he's like, oh yeah, it's because you're so busy. What a disgraceful piece of shit. And no, I will not apologize. He is a disgraceful piece of shit. It's an appropriate word to describe him. And then she says, Muhammad, stop. Just stop. I've had enough of this bullshit. Let me see if this is like, okay, so she did it to stop the conversation, but then she, after a minute or two, decides to resume it. What terms were you speaking about? So she tells him to shut up. I don't want to continue the conversation. Then she changes her mind and says, what terms are you talking about? Where did you think you were justified in the matter? And maybe we got married, maybe we don't.
We'll see. Am I here?
Hey,
I think I'm here. Yep.
Yeah, we
I
got
told
married.
you it was going to be 10 minutes because of where I was. But let me let that guy ahead of me. Oh, dude. Sorry, there was something on the highway, and I like braked to allow this guy over, and instead of coming into my space, he hit the object on the road and slammed on the brakes himself. I have no idea why he did that when I made room for him to come over, but okay.
So
I'm back.
real quick before we get your thoughts on everything that I've just been reading, Amina says, I am no Muslim. I don't care if you're a Muslim or not. You need to be on topic. Amina, get on topic or you will go to time out. You are enabling the abuse of a disgusting individual who you say is not part of your religion. So you have absolutely no reason to come in here and distract from Mohammed Hijab's disgusting behavior, which we're calling out, so that this poor abused woman tries to get justice. You're enabling him. Whether you
and you're also just repeating Islamic talking points because no one even a quarter.
Oh no, we seem to have lost Mary again. So that you're repeating Islamic talking points, which she absolutely is. I mean, maybe Amina is not a Muslim, right? Maybe she is from a Islamic background and isn't a Muslim anymore. But I find it very mysterious that someone who has no loyalty to Islam comes in here and tries to talk about anything but Mohammed Hijab. Oh, switch to decaf. So Amina, you are my dhimmi. You are the dhimmi in this relationship. You will do what I say, or you will face the consequences. I really don't care what you think about me. Get on topic. Stop enabling the abuse of Mohammed Hijab. Stop supporting him indirectly, or you will go to timeout. You are attacking a poor, abused woman with your behavior. I didn't demonize you because of your name. I demonized you because of your behavior. You come into a stream about an abusive individual, and what do you want to do? Distract from him to try to get us to talk about something else. That is enabling the abuse. You are a sick individual, regardless of your religion.
Maybe she's the next hotel wife, and she doesn't want to talk about the last hotel wife. Anyway, I am rather curious as to what she hopes to accomplish, because there's no, like, if he's given her mahr, right? That's the only thing an abused wife gets anyway. Like, what else does an abused wife get except her mahr? Like, does she want her reputation rehabilitated. She can't get the years back. Women don't have, I mean, what else could she get? So that's what I've been kind of curious. I mean, yeah, she feels like she's been wrong. Morally, absolutely she has. Islamically, sort of. It's underhanded, but I'm not sure it's like wrong. But I am also not quite sure what she wants other than to burn it all down. I mean, I would be totally with her if she wants to burn it all down. But I don't see, I mean, he won't be able to do this to other women nearly as easily, because she would have done this with him if she'd known she's wife number whatever, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12.
Well, you know, in Mohammed Hijab's experience, the revert girls are the most likely to agree to this kind of arrangement. Well, Aisha is not a revert, so he's definitely speaking of someone else when he's talking about his experience. Interesting. We may have lost Mary again. Anyway, last statement to you.
Should be back.
Oh, yeah, you're
Okay.
back. Last statement to Amina. If you actually care about Aisha, you actually support her, very simple, be on topic. How am I as prejudiced? She says, you guys are just as prejudiced as anyone in the world. She says she's pro-woman, that she supports Aisha. And yet all she wants to do is come in here and talk about how Christianity is false.
Why are you distracting then? Then talk about Aisha. If you care about her, talk about her.
Exactly. If this continues, if you make one more off-topic comment, you'll be put in timeout. End of story. This is about Aisha. If you want to debate me on the truth of Christianity, my email address is in the video description. We can have a nice, friendly chat on that topic. Today, we're talking about Mohammed Hijab.
Yeah, the only thing that I can think of that she, whoops, I'm sure I just dropped again. The only thing that I can think of that she wants to get out of this is to burn it all down so he can't continue to do this, which is understandable, but I cannot see how Islamically she can get anything more out of this. Now, if men had not changed the law and 1700, she could actually sue him for bigamy under Old English law. But they didn't like how the issues that this caused, which I think are more of a feature than a bug for the system, that previously under English law, because in historical Christian marriage, you didn't actually have to have like registration. It wasn't something that the government had to legally register, or else it's not real. All you had to have was a promise in the present tense and witnesses, 2 witnesses. So he would be guilty of bigamy under old common law, but unfortunately they don't recognize that in most places anymore, which is unfortunate. Like, I would love to throw all of these bigamists in jail. That would be perfect. Awesome.
Yeah, so she might not be able to get him on bigamy charges in the UK, but I think that she could probably get him on something, right? Or at least make him look really bad in court. And there's no way that he's ever going to take this to court. And she doesn't seem to be interested in that either. She says bring it on, but you know, he's threatening to sue her for libel and whatnot, slander. I don't think it'll go to court.
No.
Good Empress says still on Mojab drama. Yeah, there's new developments, right? We'll be on this for a while. I mean, it won't be every single stream, but I think the story is going to continue to develop, and it needs to be heard. If there's lots of Muslims talking about this, you know, like lots of Muslim fellow da'is calling out Mohammed Hijab and arguing for justice, well, then I might need to talk about it. But there aren't. They're dead silent. None of them want to say anything about this. So someone's got to say something. Someone's got to stand up for Aisha, the victim in this situation.
Remember that 85% of them have secret wives of the da'is.
Mhm.
They've all got their wives on the side that they're banging. So any of you chicks out there, you got a die husband. He's probably got a side girl.
Yeah. I actually found the original stream that's from after the part where the short cuts off. He says, but Zakir Naik doesn't. I was very surprised to learn that. So Zakir Naik might be the 15% that does it. But every single one in the UK, right? He says that every name you can think of, they all do it. And there's kind of like a wink and nod, like myself included. But that's irrelevant now because we all know it's true now. But Ali Dawa does it. He's speaking to Daniel Hikachu, who's not in the UK, so I don't know if Daniel does it or not. Hijab wouldn't necessarily know. Because Daniel's saying like, yeah, it's less than 50% here in the United States, which if it was like
Less than
2%,
50. Less
yeah,
than
if it's
50.
like,
Wow, not that much. Less than
right,
50%.
if it was like he couldn't think of anyone, you'd think he'd say that rather than less than 50. So it's probably like 40% or 30% in his experience of US da'is do it. 85% of UK da'is.
I think that Ali Dawa might be the exception because he couldn't get anybody to marry him for the longest time, and he was throwing fits about it. It was very funny because everybody's father said no. It's probably because they all knew that they are all like these nasty boys who are having sex with lots of women. They didn't want their daughters to get STDs, so nobody would do the first marriage.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, so I mean, 85% implies there's a couple that don't, but Zakir Naik apparently is one of them. Maybe Ali Dawa, who knows? But just about anyone who goes to Speaker's Corner, just about anyone you can think of, is included in that group. And I have no reason to think that Mohammed Hijab is wrong. I mean, he would actually know. He'd probably know better than the wives what's going on in this scene because, of course, they all brag to one another about all their new hot wives. And whatnot. And he says, but the Pakistanis, they're not all that into it. And then the comment is, yeah, because they're in the grooming gangs instead. They don't need secret wives.
yeah.
But anyway, Hijab says it's very prevalent, and I have no reason to doubt him. Anyway, so she tried to break off the conversation, and then she changed her mind and said that what were you even talking about, right? In terms of the contract. And so then he's like, shut up, you're nothing, may Allah deal with you. So now he's trying to end the conversation. Muhammad, I married you a respected marriage for life. I asked you that and you said yes, that's the aim. And then he says, you married
he would marry her for life as long as she would continue to meet him at the hotel rooms for a bang, and that would be it.
Yeah, but I mean, she was under the distinct impression that he'd be part of her life and part of her daughter's life, but no, he just wanted sex as long as it could happen. So then he says, you married me for sex? You were desperate for any man to give you sex.
Which is utterly untrue because he spent quite a while grooming her for this situation, dangling men in front of her and then advising against it, and dangling this man in front of her and advising against it, finally be like, oh, well, perhaps you should marry me. Like, he was doing that nonsense. So utterly untrue.
Yeah. And remember, she was still married when he first met her and was in the process of divorce. So if she was so desperate for sex from any man, she would have just stayed married to that guy, no matter how bad of a husband he was.
Well, he may have divorced her, though, so we don't know.
Yeah, that's true. He could have broken
more
up.
likely that he divorced her.
She implied that he wasn't being a good Muslim, and she didn't want to be with him for that reason. But who knows? Irrelevant.
Well, she implied that, but she may have blamed the failure or his divorcing her on the fact that he wasn't a good Muslim. So he may have initiated the divorce, and because she would have to have like a very good reason to get Islamically divorced on her own account, which would have to be something really extreme. So it was more likely that he divorced her, and then she's like, oh, the reason that he did that, he wasn't a good Muslim. When, of course, Islamically, like, thinking you're old is an Islamically permissible reason for kicking a woman to the curb.
Yeah, Snoopy says no females that desperate. Not to be too graphic here, but if she really just wanted to have sex with men, all she'd have to do is go to any random bar and come on to some guy, and she'd probably get him in bed that night. So, and even if the first guy wasn't interested, it wouldn't take very long to find one who is. It's not hard to get sex as a female.
No.
So she wasn't so desperate that she married Mohammed Hijab because she wanted sex. Come on.
Gosh, imagine the level of desperation that a woman would have to have. Like, I can't even conceive of it. Oh my goodness, it's hilarious.
So then she's continuing, right? So she said that she wanted a normal marriage basically for life. I told you that we would have our own home when I moved out. You said yes. And he says, good thing I didn't go there. Maybe I would have had an accusation on me as well, like if I'd gone to your house, right? And then he uses her real name, but I'll say poor Aisha has had enough of your, oh no, it's her daughter's name. Poor whatever her daughter's name is, has had enough of your abuse for one lifetime, because the side note here says that he's using the daughter's name, and that's why they censored that. See, Hijab using Aisha's daughter to make her seem like a bad and abusive mother. So your poor daughter has had enough of your abuse for one lifetime. That's his response to her saying that you promised me we'd have a home together and you'd be with me and my daughter. Is your daughter doesn't want your abuse? I don't even have words to describe how vile and disgusting Mohammed Hijab is.
And here's the thing, she chose him because of his religious reputation and standing in the community. That surely he will have a proper Islamic relationship with her. Well, in a lot of ways he has. And I think that that's very telling, because this is not a case where someone is horrifically abusing the religion to take advantage of women. It is someone using what the is quite different. I'm about to drop again, just so you know.
Yeah, the audio was starting to break up a little there. We got what you said, but it was definitely starting to get sus there. Anyway, Muslim Raisinhead says, don't forget to hit like. Yeah, definitely like this stream. Make sure it gets spread far and wide. And I do want to acknowledge that Amina is now on topic, and I thank her for that. It was that simple. All you do is get on topic, and then I won't abuse you or demonize you or whatever you accuse me of doing. So we're going to have a long message here from Aisha, kind of trying to get everything on the record here as to how she understood the relationship. If things I asked from you were not important to me, I wouldn't have brought the questions up before the nikah. You said we will be on our previous terms if things work, otherwise we won't. You have never explained your position about that. So basically she's saying that you baited and switched. You said that we'd have the terms that you said verbally, and then when the relationship started, you said that this was just a temporary arrangement, that we'd as long as things worked out, we'd go to the other situation, the one I promised you. And then she says, I'm not interested in being with you, nor will I be with anyone else. I'm not interested in men anymore. You did hurt me. Sorry, I'm going to pause real quick because Amina says, I'm going to email you, Thaddeus, because I have sincere questions. I appreciate that. I'm actually a very nice guy. I have to be firm with the chat, but I'm actually a very nice guy, and I will be happy to answer your questions. So she continues, you don't understand what this marriage meant to me. I have sacrificed almost everything to be part of this dawah work throughout my life since I was 15. I accepted your arrangement for that. Emotions I did grow for you were grounded on that. I gave up almost everything for that. You are comforting me, asking me to recover. Recover from what? I think she means you think you're comforting me, but she said you're comforting me. You have destroyed my dunya. So dunya is this world. You've destroyed my life in this world. And you have destroyed my religious ambition and my dreams. So like, I'm not interested in dawah anymore. I have no interest in spreading Islam. Everything that I'd hoped and dreamed for in the dawah community is now gone. You are asking me not to worry. I'm really confused. Isn't that you who has to worry? It's like someone who did butcher a person and then picked up their ear off the floor and whispered into it, "Don't worry, Allah has your back. You'll be okay." What an analogy there, right? You killed someone, you chopped their ear off, and then you whisper into their ear, "Don't worry, Allah's got your back," after you've already destroyed and killed them. Wow. That's such an analogy. I don't think you're in a position to comfort me. I am really very confused. You did hurt me a lot. I think there's no point in us talking any further. So this looks like it was probably like the next day or maybe even days later. She finally decides to send this long message because the timestamp's earlier in the day. I think that this probably was sent another day, right? After that other conversation ended and all that yelling and screaming, after a few days, she sends back this message like, you can't comfort me. Stop trying to help me. You've destroyed my life. You've ruined me. You've murdered me effectively. And now you're just like, don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. And that's not helpful at all, is what she's saying. Pause for Mary. She might have already lost connection though. So yeah, it seems that way. I'll just continue on then.
Yeah, I think it's lost. I don't think you'll be able to hear me.
Oh, nope. I'm hearing you.
Oh, crazy. But yeah, that is a very funny picture that she painted there. And I mean, accurate. What she had this delusional idea that they were going to be like this dollar power couple. Thought that she would hang out with them, but under some other pretense, so that the wife find out who takes them to cleaners. That would be hilarious if she takes them to cleaners in the UK, but she might not want blowback, so she might not. But I be great if she took his shirt because he's philandering about with these various secret.
Mukau says Aisha needs to find Jesus Christ. Anyone in the UK can reach out to her. So I think only a couple people actually know who she is. Like, her Mohammed Hijab in his response video said her first name, but I mean, know her full name right now, who she actually is, know where she lives and how to contact her. I think the vast majority of people have no clue who she is. But as Tatiana said, she did come into David Wood's live stream last night and leave a couple comments. So there's a good chance she is watching at least some of she was in that chat apparently for about 40 minutes. She only sent 2 messages, but they're 40 minutes apart. So I'm going to assume she was probably there at least 40 minutes. And so she's at least watching some of the Christian response. And that's why I started the stream with a message to her in case she does watch this. Because I'd love for her to reach out and get some support from the Christian community. Because unlike the Islamic community, we're actually here for her. I mean, yeah, sure, there'll be some people who wouldn't be, some people who will victim blame and whatnot. And she is accountable for her actions. I'm not saying she's innocent entirely, but she's not perfect. She's a sinner. She makes mistakes, and in Christianity, that's okay, right? It's okay that you made mistakes. God still loves you. The church can still love you. By church, I mean the body of believers can still love you. And so I do hope that, if not to me, to David or to someone else, that she reaches out and actually can see what the Christian community is offering. Ragnar says you went upside down, bro. Haha. Yeah, that's because someone triggered Islamic mode. The audience can trigger Islamic mode and turn the stream upside down for 15 seconds or 20. I forget exactly how long. Because in Islam, everything is upside down. We are most of the way through the texts here. She's continuing on. Let me just check it. Okay, so this is like probably a different day. It's different timestamp, so I'm going to suggest this is probably a different day that she's just sending more and talking about what she needed from this relationship. She says, number one, I need a man in my life to guard me fully within his Islamic word there, but I'm going to guess like protection or status as head of household. I need to have a home. Number two, I need to have a home and build a family for life where we trust and support each other in a loving relationship upon the Sunnah. Number three, I am doing all this because I want to learn from you and grow in my religion and knowledge. Number four, I want to know you are in full control and ready to deal with the evil you may know happen in case she finds out. I don't want to be the one that pays the price. Please don't get angry and start making statements that will hurt me now. So I'm not quite sure what the tenses are kind of messed up here. But I think what she's trying to say is this: what I expected from the relationship, right? I expected you to be in full control. I expected you to make sure that your first wife didn't find out about this. And I expected that I wouldn't have to pay the price if she somehow found out because I didn't do anything wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what she's trying to say. The tense implies that it's, a future relationship, but I think that this is from after they've ended the relationship. And then she says, please just don't reply to my text. I'm mentally not ready to handle anything at the moment. And again, I'm sorry again if I spoke in a way you don't like. So yeah, I think that kind of confirms that this is later on, but she's just trying to clarify what she expected out of the relationship, even though she put it in a tense that implies it would be in the future. And then Hijab says, I forgive you. Please forgive me too for any misunderstanding. And then she says, okay, please just don't text me now. If there's something you want to say, just leave it to a later date. Am health-wise not well, Wahali. Even if it is you saying I love you, it would hurt me now. Please, please send me no messages. The screenshot shows that he sent another message, which she didn't open up. Then let me just check I think this is probably the same day based on the timestamps. So are continuing on of describing the situation. I never understood your actions. The pain you caused me will never stop growing. If you didn't like me, why did you get me emotionally attached to you throughout these years? Why did you propose to me? Why did you come back to marry me? So what she's referring to there is when she told her testimony that he cut things off, he ghosted her, and then he came back. Like they tentatively agreed to get married, and then he went silent, ghosted her, disappeared, and then came back after a period of time apologizing. Don't know why. Maybe his first wife got the gist of what was going on and he had to cool it so that she wouldn't beat him. Because not here, but elsewhere, it's described how his marriage almost ended and he almost lost custody of his kids because she found out about a previous one of these secret marriages. In any case, that's what she's referring to here. It could also be that he was already at his 4-wife limit and he had to wait till he's ready to get rid of one. Who knows? For some reason, he ghosted her for a while. Then came back and apologized and said, I'm so sorry. I was dealing with a lot of crap in my life, and emotionally I was unstable, and I did something wrong. I should have let you know what was going on. Anyway, she continues, I had to deal with a lot of pain every time. I was 31 when this all started, so 5 years ago, or maybe 4 years ago when the texts are sent. I need love. I want to have kids. I want to be with a religious companion. I don't have the capacity to be both a man and a woman. I had great ambition to be part of the Dawah work. I trusted you. And then she says, I'm in a constant state of Arabic word there. I will never stop my same Arabic word.
I think that's prayers and supplications.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm in a constant state of prayer. I'll never stop my prayers. You harmed me. Had you not agreed to what I asked from you, I wouldn't have married you. So you outlined the 4 things that he agreed to earlier on. She's saying he agreed to those things. Had you told me that you wouldn't keep contact with my family, I wouldn't have gotten them involved. This team, the Dawah team, has been like a family to me since I came to the country, before I ever met you. So she was in contact with other people in the Dawah scene before she met him. That's how they got in touch in the first place. I was ready to do anything to be a part of it. I wasn't going to get anything dunya-wise from this marriage except for the emotions I have for you. It's clear from what I accepted. I didn't marry you for sex. I agreed and wanted to be together. I have big trust and respect for you. I'm unable to understand in this will never stop hurting or something like that. The last word we see there is never. And then that's the end of the first conversation. Obviously, she said a bit more, but basically, just reiterating all the things that have been said elsewhere. Maybe Hijab replied, maybe he didn't. She apparently blocked him at some point. And then Muhammad, at a later date, I think it says how long. It just says sometime, but, it's not like the next day or something. Weeks, months, who knows? But some time has passed by. Mohammed Hijab tries to contact her from a new number. Again, if you're faking these texts, why would you do this? Why would you show him contacting from a different number after you blocked him? Anyway, he writes something in Arabic, which is probably just like, Assalamu alaikum or something like that. And then he says, it's Mohammed Hijab. I've been wanting to say something to you for a while. When the divorce took place, you were being somewhat persistent. What a funny description of what happened. I mentioned that I wasn't physically attracted to you. That was a lie. So after some time went by, Mohammed Hijab comes back and says, I want to apologize about saying you weren't attractive. I was just angry and being stupid when I said that, which might be genuine, right? That actually might be a genuine apology. Even Hijab might be capable of a genuine apology. He could also be trying to manipulate her. We'll see.
I don't believe it. Don't believe it. Nope. Not genuine. He's trying to pacify her now. Because before he was insulting her, and now he's like, I'm going to try to make her feel better, and maybe she'll stop doing this to me. Do not believe for a second it's genuine.
Yeah, I'm opening the possibility that he could be apologizing for that specific phrase genuinely. But he certainly doesn't think he did anything wrong.
I know. Don't believe it. He's a narcissist. Do not believe it.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Mary. It's probably not. I'm just leaving open the possibility. Anyway, this was a lie. I only said this to stop you from being persistent and to shake you off. The reason I bring this to your attention is because I feel I was unfair of me to say that and wrong. Okay. Also, I think in general, I could have been more compassionate with you. No shit. More compassionate than yelling and screaming at her, telling her it's all her fault, that she's a liar. No,
it's possible that I could have treated you less like garbage. That's possible. Only sort of like garbage.
And he says, genuinely sorry for this and seek your forgiveness. Whether or not you want to give it is up to you. So obviously, a couple of weeks have gone by. He's seeing that she's not dropping this, right? He's hearing from people in the scene who are loyal to him that she's still pursuing the matter. And so he's trying to make amends, right? He's trying to do something to end the attempts to get justice. So she replies, I have zero interest in hearing anything from you. I can't believe you have the audacity to text me after all the deception and fake promises you gave me based on which I accepted to marry you, and all the lies, slander, and control of my ex and the stalking. So interesting statement there, right? So he said earlier on that I think your ex is trying to get in touch with me, right? So apparently he got in touch with her ex-husband and has been trying to manipulate him and use him to get at her. She says he's stalking her. I believe it 100%. That to some extent, right? I mean, I don't think he's stalking her in like the obsessed woman trying to get at a man type of way. Like, I don't think he's trying to get at her to have sex with her or something like that. But he is watching her. He's following her, having people follow her because he wants to see what she's doing, not because he wants to get back with her or something like that, but because he wants to make sure that she's not going to be able to bring a credible accusation against him. And then she notices that he still has that 24 timer on and says, "Are you still using a timer to get all the text deleted? You have no shame at all. You are a demon. You are nothing other than that. You plotted everything. You planned it so perfectly." So she's woken up at this point, right?
Yeah, and the whole 24-hour text things while they were married. Yeah, he's using you, honey. He's using you. You are nothing more to him than another place for him to put his pee-pee. That's it. That's what he valued you as. But Islam doesn't value you as any more than that anyway. You're ungrateful to him, according to Muhammad.
Exactly. Yeah, even the apology, right? He's sending this genuine apology, but he still has a timer to delete it after 24 hours from a new number, right? So he actually had to set that up on this additional number. It's not that he just forgot to turn it off or something. Talmudic Tunnels Construction says even his texts, he's stuttering.
Why stuttering?
Indeed, he is. So she's totally woken up. Like, she was still like confused and trying to figure out what happened in the previous text when they were fighting. I think she actually didn't understand. Like, she hadn't fully removed herself from emotional attachment and whatnot. And she actually didn't understand why he had treated her this way, but she's figured it out now, right? She's figured it out by now and says that you're a demon. You're nothing other than that. You plotted everything. You planned it all. You did what you did because you can. That's all what it is. You deceived me. I would have never said yes to that. You even went ahead to brag about it. You are shameless. Allah allowed you to give false promises to an old girl in her late 30s, struggling with her child. False promises to my own dad.
Yep. Why not? He's telling you things to please you.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. And to avoid confrontation, which revealing his actual plans would cause. So why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
That's the sad thing here. Well, I mean, there's many sad things, but that's the sad thing of these particular messages is she thinks that he violated Islam. I think she legitimately believes that, right? She legitimately believes that he's just making up crap. But in fact, Allah did allow him to give false promises, even to her, right? An old lady.
She's
not
the
an old lady,
second wife, so she would imagine that he would have to be more honest with her than he would be with his first wife. Like, why would she think that he would need to be more honest with her than with the first wife, behind whose back he's carrying this sordid affair with? Like,
yeah, that's
just
one thing I never
baffling.
understand. And this isn't a Muslim thing or an Islamic thing. Every woman who is like knows that the man she's with is cheating on his wife, they all think that he's going to be honest with her. I don't understand. Why would you think that? Why would you ever think that? He's cheating on his wife. Oh, it's because, his wife's such a bad woman and I'm a good woman. And no, if he's cheating on another woman to be with you, you cannot trust him. Like, if he didn't want to be with that woman, he should end the relationship before starting a relationship with you, not cheat behind her back. So yeah, it's insane. It's insane, but again, it's not specifically Islamic. But she thinks that he can't give her false promises when he can. Even her old girl in her 30s, as she puts it, which is pathetic, that she's absorbed, that somehow she has very little value because she's almost at the end of her childbearing ages, which is utter nonsense, right?
Why wouldn't she think that? That's what Islam teaches.
Well, yeah.
Soda was thrown away, was about to be thrown away because she had reached 40. And what is a woman good for at 40?
Not a lot, apparently. Of course, that's not my opinion.
I'm over 40 too. So anyone in the chat who doesn't know, I'm over 40. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, my wife is over 40 as well. And I value her as much or more than the day that we got married. And that's what a real relationship looks like, right? That's what a real loving marriage looks like. It's not, oh, yeah, you've gotten ugly when you got old. I don't want you anymore. Get lost. You're too old to have children. Get lost. My wife actually had a hysterectomy like 5 years into our marriage, so she would never be able to have a second child. Did that diminish my opinion of her? Did it diminish her value in any way? Of course not. And that's not what Christian understanding of marriage is, but it is sadly the Islamic understanding. Continuing on, so she says that she was struggling with her child, false promises to my own dad. So she's saying, I was very vulnerable. I was not highly valued in Islamic society, and to even me, knowing that all this, you still decided to do this to me. Well, it's not really a still. I think that Mohammed Hijab picked her precisely because of that, right? This is a woman who I can convince that she has no value, and thus she'll accept this disgusting, perverted relationship that I want.
Oh, and also the fact that the whole once divorced, the divorced single mothers, all of the Islamic men see them as easy pickings for multiple to be in a multiple marriage. They always see them as, oh, I want to find I can't really afford to support a real marriage right now. I'll find a grateful single mother that I can just help a little bit with her rent and then bang her so that I don't do zina. So that's what they're there for. They'll be grateful then. And they also have a high tendency to throw away the wives that they have. So it creates the single mothers. So it's quite delightful.
Cheryl says, and if she's a secret wife, there are 2 other slots available to Mojab, unless of course he's already filled them. And so why is she sure she's not one of 4, not one of 2, right? She might have 2 other secret wives. So how could she believe a word out of his mouth? I mean, logically, there's no reason she should trust him, but we're human beings. We have emotions. She had a close relationship with Mohammed Hijab. She viewed him as a good man, a trustworthy friend, a good provider, a good husband to his first wife. She said in the video a line that is especially astonishing, that she's not seeing what she's saying, but she said that I used all the criteria that we used to decide whether someone is a good teacher, someone who's reliable to teach us the Quran and teach us Islam. And I used all those criteria to evaluate, and he passed all the criteria. I don't understand how this could have gone wrong. Well, what else are they lying to you about? Those criteria don't work. They don't work. What else are they lying to you about? Is my question to her. But of course, he picked her precisely because she was so vulnerable, and she had emotions. She was attached to him. She felt she loved him. Perhaps she did, right? Perhaps she had legitimate love for him. She was also very attracted to his persona, to the Dawah scene that he was part of. She wanted to be, so she was attracted to his lifestyle and everything that was going on. So also attracted to the power. that he has. And she was overtaken by those things and made an idiotic choice, despite the clear evidence that she shouldn't have trusted him. It'd be one thing if he was asking her to be a second wife that wasn't a secret, but the fact they want to keep it a secret should have been quite crystal clear that he could not be trusted. She says, don't text back. Nothing comes from you. I am not disgusted of. So every word you say disgusts me. You killed me. Remember this verse really well. Then she puts the Arabic for the verse, which is probably what she said at the end of the stream, that, you've ruined my dunya, but I've ruined your hereafter. And then Hijab says, I'm sorry if I hurt you, and she blocks him. So that's the end of the texts. We've managed to get through it all. If people still have doubts about Hijab's guilt in this matter, I'd say stop drinking the Kool-Aid, because he is absolutely 100% guilty. He admitted to everything in these texts. Maybe not like the details of what happened very early on in the relationship, because that's not relevant, but everything relevant, right? Everything important to the claims about what he did wrong, at least morally, maybe not Islamically, probably not Islamically. He's admitted to everything, even though he's denying it publicly now. And if you think that someone would go through this effort of spending years, and everyone in this acknowledges it's been years, trying to get justice because a stalker was rejected, give me a break, right? Forge all these texts, seek out countless individuals to help. Apparently, in desperation, before she finally found the Behind Veils channel, she started reaching out to non-Muslims, enemies of Islam, people who are critical of Islam, because she figured if no one else will listen to her, at least they'll listen to me. If that's true, I'm really embarrassed for whoever she reached out to that they didn't make this public before. I guess maybe they couldn't evaluate it. They didn't know whether it was trustworthy or not, or maybe they just never even saw the emails. I mean, a lot of people don't check their email. But if she did reach out to someone and they didn't take her case, then I'm really ashamed on their behalf, whoever they were, whether they are atheist, Christian, or otherwise. Anyone, any decent human being should stand with Aisha on this. Yes, she made mistakes. Yes, she's responsible for actions. Yes, Islam is to blame, but she is still a victim who absolutely deserves justice. And that's my final thought on this. I'll have a couple super chats and stuff to say, but I'll get some final thoughts from Mary first.
That would pretty much be my summary as well, that this is an indictment primarily of Islam, secondarily of Mohammed Hijab and the kind of people whom it platforms, and then very distantly also her, but she grew up in this system. But the fact also that she was willing to be the secret second wife, and didn't occur to her that she might actually be the fourth, and that if he's willing to do this, what would he be willing to lie to her about? But yeah, it's a very sad situation, and it's entirely predictable. It's not outside the bounds. He's not abusing his position. I think that's the most important thing to understand. He was not, from an Islamic point of view, he's not abusing his position. He's not exploiting her horribly. It's what it teaches, how one should treat women, especially women who have previously been divorced. So very good chance that she has very, very thin ground to stand on Islamically. That's why it is from Satan. It's a horrible, fake, disgusting religion, and it should be extinguished from the world.
Absolutely. Weird Stuff says he actually broke her from the inside out psychologically, and then he denied, calls all sorts of names, and nothing happened. I'm sorry if, what a dirtbag. Yeah, I mean, he spent I don't know, maybe he didn't spend the entire 3 years grooming her. It could have started as a innocent relationship. But at some point, he figured out that she was a vulnerable target and started grooming her to prepare for his plan of tricking her into this secret Misyar hotel sex marriage, and thinking that he had manipulated her to the point where she would just accept it, even though that isn't what he promised her. He was wrong. She didn't accept it. He then at least thought she would keep quiet. He was wrong about that as well. But he absolutely manipulated her throughout this relationship. If more texts ever come to light, which they might not, because he had it on a 24-hour deletion timer. But if more things come to light, I'm sure that you'll see that he was carefully manipulating her throughout the relationship to set up this, trying to make her feel like she had no value and no one would want her. And it probably wasn't very hard, since she probably had already those ideas in the back of her mind, because she grew up in Islam and she knows what it teaches. And in Islam, a 35 or a 31, 35, by the time he marries her, year-old woman who's divorced with a child is not very valuable, not very desired. Not very many men would be interested in that, sadly, but truly. All right. Also, Caleb said, did you see David Wood and Apostate Prophet stream yesterday? A clip was shown that say most UK Dawa people have a minimum of 2 wives. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Obviously, you just joined recently. I actually tracked down the live stream of Daniel that's from. It was not deceptive, right? There was no important context removed from it, but I've confirmed that is exactly what Hijab is saying, that in the UK, 85%, his words, he does revise it, maybe 80% later on. So 80 to 85% of Da'is have practiced polygamy at one time. They might not currently have 2 wives. They either currently have 2 wives or 3 wives or 4 wives, or they've done it in the past and they have ended that second relationship and currently have lots of spots available for the revert girls who are eager to enter into these kinds of relationships. So yes, I saw that. And we didn't play it, but we did talk about it earlier in the stream. Before I take the super chats, I left this for last purposely. Tatiana said, did Hijab respond to these texts? Of course, he hasn't responded to these texts, but he preemptively responded. I think he probably got wind that these were about to be released, because the night before they were released, he put out a message on his YouTube channel, on a community post, that said, this is my final word on the matter. They have had ample time, 3 days, to produce evidence, and none has been forthcoming. Clearly, there is no evidence. I will not waste any more time on this matter. Any future response, others in the community might respond to it, but I won't be responding any further. Well, he never responded openly in the first place, because it was put on a new channel and used a voice changer to not sound like Hijab, although we all figured out it was him. And what he's saying is, yeah, I'm going to respond to this, but I'm going to make my little slave boy Ali Dawa or someone else respond to it. Sorry, my trained pet, right? Because Behind Veils says that Ali Dawa, I don't know what kind of leash Hijab has on you, and that's actually the case, right? That he's kind of Hijab's pet, or as some have suggested, his other secret wife, but probably not. Probably nothing sexual going on there. But Hijab will not respond to these. If he does respond directly, then he'll have violated what he claimed he was going to do. And you'll know that he's really, really desperate if that happens, because he said that he's not going to respond to them before they were even out. But I'm sure that there's going to be lots more developing in this. Behind Veils said this was only the first piece of evidence. These 25 pages of text is only the first piece of evidence. Lots more to come. They implied that there are voicemails, so we'll get to hear Hijab in his own voice saying this stuff as well. And then
Can you just imagine giving £100 and it's a sadaqah jariyah, meaning it carries on going even when you are gone? Just imagine being in your grave and getting the rewards. In your grave, you will not be able to come back to this video to donate. So why not donate now?
Nisanatic has been a channel supporter for 6 months now. Just imagine the rewards you're going to get for being a channel member for 6 months. In fact, you got a super chat, a free super chat for being a channel member for 6 months. So there is that. Is he still claiming this is all plot by Elon? So to be clear, he never actually claimed it was a plot by Elon. He just set that up a couple months ago, and then he decided to use a different excuse. He decided not to say that he was being framed. He decided to say that she was a stalker and that he called off the relationship, and then she went nuts. I guess he decided that there wasn't enough. He decided that he weighed his options, right? He decided, how much evidence is there going to be against me? I don't think there's going to be a lot, so I'm going to go with the stalker angle. If he thought there was going to be a lot, if he thought there was going to be pages and pages of texts that were saved, I bet you he would have said that he's being framed instead of saying that it was a stalker. Because he set that option up, right? He set that option up for himself, and then he's like, I'm going to go with the stalker angle. Should have gone with the frame angle, I think. But he made his choice. Now he has to live with it. He can't credibly claim that it's a plot now that he said she's a stalker. Weird stuff triggered Who Ate the Apple? Thank you for that. Last Prophet with a super chat.
Early, and this is indeed a sign, yet most of them are not believers. Give alone to Allah, give alone to Allah. Ride the wings of Gabriel, give alone to Allah.
Ride the wings of Gabriel, Last Prophet. No message, just a donation. Thank you very much for that. From Villainous, happy Muta marriage, Mr. Hijab. May it last for a long 10 minutes. Sounds about right. In fairness, he probably was with her at least an hour in the hotel. I mean, not inside her for an hour, but he probably came to the hotel, some chit chat, some small talk, and then he climbed on top. Then he waited a few minutes and then he left. So he's probably there an hour, maybe 2 hours. It probably wasn't literally just walk in, fuck her, and then leave. He probably at least spent a tiny bit of time with her. Super chat from Cheryl.
Who ate the apple? You ate the apple. The whole apple. Yes, the whole apple. You ate it. But a small seed, you left it. You put it back into the earth. What happened? Allah, through His power, caused that to grow and to give you how many apples? Thousands.
Thousands of apples. I hope that's what you're getting at your Bible study, Cheryl. It's thousands of apples. Cheryl said, goodbye, y'all. Bible time is 3 p.m. I have to go back and catch up, but I'm sure it's been great. So if you see this later, thank you very much, Cheryl, for your donation today and all the support that you give periodically on
Who
this
ate the
channel.
apple?
Looks like the weird stuff just triggered Who Ate the Apple. So I'll give him credit for triggering that. Good summary of today's stream from Professor Yaffle. Hijab is a bustard. I don't know if that's an intentional typo. Well, yeah, it must be, right? Because used nowhere near A. So he's a bustard. Whole apple, including seeds. Wow. Yes. You ate the apple. All of it? Yes, all of it. But the seeds? You put those into the ground, and Allah gave you thousands of apples in return. Abdul Appleseed, indeed. I don't know if Mary's audio is connected, but we're about to wrap up. So anything else you want to say?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Thank you all for joining us today. Mary and I won't have a stream tomorrow. We did today instead because of the breaking news, which I forgot to play at the start.
And you see breaking news. Yes, yes.
No? Okay.
We got to play the breaking news clip at the start, but in any case, because of the breaking news, the text being dumped, we wanted to go live as quickly as possible. So we won't be live tomorrow, but later in the week, I'm sure Mary and I will probably do something. I have a couple of recorded videos, 3, I think, recorded videos with Mary that I'm going to work on editing. One of those I'm going to try to get out pretty soon because it directly relates to Mama drama in early Islam and how the Sunni Shia split happened because of Muhammad's, the prophet, not hijab in this case, perverted sexual activity, which Mohammed Hijab is trying his best to emulate. Probably stream at least one other time this week, working on a couple scripted videos. So lots coming up. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Be sure you liked this video if you have not already done so. And until we meet again, God bless everyone. Let's close out with a prayer from Pastor Jake.
Pray this ceaselessly. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me.